We will get injury updates as we go through this stream, but as of right now, we don't have the official practice reports just yet. I'll let you know when we get them, but instead, we need to just dive right into actually checking out these teams. I mean, we have a ridiculous amount to get through. We've sent away too many free questions, which we're going to continue to live stream answering fantasy football questions. Most of them will be free every single day, so just make sure that you are subscribed and hit the bell next to the subscribe button, and YouTube will tell you when we go live. And again, like I said, I'll live stream it every single day until Christmas without missing a single day so I can answer as many of your questions as possible. But this team's going to be waiver wire emergent, says sent to trade too, but I'm looking to trade wide receiver depth. Pollard and Bowers upgraded either running back or QB. So I'll say in general, you're number one in the league when it comes to value. You've scored 312 points, so we're actually near the bottom of the league when it comes to total fantasy points scored. But this is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So realistically, I like the idea of selling wide receiver depth. And I would say for most people in a format like this, I actually really want to hold on to a player like Brock Bowers, just because that elite tight end is going to make up a very high percentage of your starting lineup output going into the future. Now, since you have Jake Ferg, I completely understand. And oh, I just got a crazy email. Ooh, okay. Okay, but I'll inform you all in a special announcement later. But anyway, I completely understand wanting to sell Bowers in this instance because Jake Ferguson's actually been the tight end 1 so far this year. Like, if you look at Jake Ferguson, the dude's had 7.3, 16.8, then 21 fantasy points. Like, he's averaging over 10 targets a game. Now you have the CeeDee Lamb injury. So Jake Ferg is set up to absolutely crush. So I understand the thought process and maybe wanting to go through and sell Bowers in this instance. Now, I will say that I don't necessarily know if running back's going to be what we want to upgrade. Look at the league analyzer. We have the most value in the league at tight end, the 3rd most value in the league at wide receiver, the 5th at running back, the 7th at quarterback. So realistically, what I would like to do if possible is I'd like to upgrade QB. Like, it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, 10-team league. So depth's going to be very easy to come by at the skill positions. Like, going through and looking at what we have with Cortland Sutton, wide receiver 3, Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver 4, Marvin Harrison, wide receiver 5. Like, realistically, you have plenty of depth at wide receiver. You can pick up Stephon Diggs, Alec Yeomanor for free off waivers as well. So I really like the idea of selling a wide receiver. I really am okay with the idea of selling Bowers, but I think it would be to get to the elite quarterback. Like, is there a world in which we can get to Allen? Like, the team with Josh Allen also has Justin Herbert. They have Juwan Johnson at tight end. Could you send like Bowers, Ricky Pearsall, and Bo Nix to get to Josh Allen? And then you're starting Josh Allen, Bijan Walker, London, Rome, Ferg, and then Sutton in the flex. And then you'd open up a couple roster spots. You can just pick up Stephon Diggs, Alec Yeomanor for free. Obviously, I would offer them Jake Ferg before I would offer Brock Bowers, but nonetheless, I mean, you can send that. Now, the team that has Lamar has Kraft, so they're probably not going to be interested in going through and actually trading for Bowers specifically. Like, if you were to get to Lamar Jackson here, that trade would more so look like, can we send the combination of Drake London and Bo Nix for Lamar Jackson, right? And then you slide up Rome, wide receiver 1, Sutton, wide receiver 2, Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver 3, and then you can backfill with wide receiver depth. Because running back, like, you have Bijan RB1, great RB1, Kenneth Walker RB2 is completely fine. And then Tony Pollard, running back 3, strong. RJ Harvey, long-term upside. Zach Sharps, in case you have an injury to Kenneth Walker, gives you the guaranteed depth there at RB. So realistically, when we're looking at running back, I mean, sure, if you can send like Bowers and Pollard and go get to Bucky, go get to Jacobs, go get to Achane, like, go for it. But I think actually my number one thing with this team would be trying to get to the elite quarterback instead. But I think that's all I got for you. I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. Now let's move this over to our next team. That's going to be Bryn is Able says, I traded Gibbs and Josh for Lamb, Bill, and Sutton after week 2 because my wide receivers were awful. In parentheses, we are regretting everything. Yeah, obviously the CeeDee Lamb injury is going to kill that. And we can now see that we are at the very bottom of the league analyzer when it comes to the actual points the actual value on our team. We've scored 360 points, so we're at the very bottom of the league in points scored as well. It's a league in which depth is going to matter. It's a 10-team format where you start up to a combined 6 running backs and receivers weekly. So you can start 4 wide receivers here every week. So looking at what we have at quarterback, really garbage quarterback group in a 10-team league. We have Dak and Love. Dak Prescott so far this season, and keep in mind, we just had the CeeDee Lamb injury, is sitting here with 3 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions, no rushing upside whatsoever, averaging less than 15 points per game. Jordan Love is yet to have a game with 20 completions. So realistically, Chief, what we have here at quarterback, garbage. Running back, we have Walker, Judkins, Jordan Mason. Okay, don't get me wrong. Kenneth Walker's not a good running back in a 10-team league. Sorry, he's not a good RB1, that is. Wide receiver, Cortland Sutton's not a good wide receiver 1 in the 10-team league. We have the depth. We have Tyreek, wide receiver 2, Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver 3. We have the injury of Mike Evans. But if you're 1 and 2, I don't necessarily think that we can think just long-term here. I don't think we can just think long-term value. It's okay, eventually Mike Evans is going to come back in and Mike Evans is going to be very exciting. No, we need to think about how we get points in this starting lineup right now. So realistically, I would try to sell Mike Evans. I would try to send Mike Evans and get a quarterback in return if possible. If there's a world in which we can send, say, Dak Prescott and Mike Evans and get 2 Jalen Hurts, it's a no-brainer. Realistically, instead, you're probably going to be looking at, Justin Herbert. Every time I see this, it gets me. Bald Mason coming out and joining as a YouTube member. Appreciate you, my guy. Looking mighty handsome, if I say so myself. But I think Mike Evans is the player that we need to sell. I don't necessarily think selling Bowers does anything for us. Because, again, we have plenty of depth on this team. I would try to send Mike Evans with, Dak Prescott to get to the best quarterback that we can. Or with Jordan Love to get to the best quarterback that we can. Or maybe send Mike Evans with Kenneth Walker to get to a true running back 1. Could we sell Mike Evans and Kenneth Walker to get to Bucky Irving, get to Devon Achane, get to Josh Jacobs? Obviously, if they would rather have Judkins, give him Judkins. I would really want to be holding on to Jordan Mason with your team because, again, we're at the bottom of the league in points scored. We're 1 and 2, so we really need to be optimizing for points right now, not necessarily just long-term value. But there's not really anything else to say with this team. I would cut Jonnu Smith. Sounds like Brock Bowers fully good to go. The knee injury isn't that much of a concern anymore. He is practicing in full on a Wednesday. Then you also have Michael Mayer with a concussion, so it looks like Bowers is set up to absolutely crush. So realistically, all I would do is cut Jonnu, pick up the handcuff running back, pick up somebody like Braylon Allen, and then I'd probably go ahead and try to send Mike Evans and a quarterback to get a QB upgrade if possible. But I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this. And let me send you over some free questions. And let me see. Let me answer this real quick. I will stall. Let me remind you all, of course, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream. Every time we hit 100 likes on the stream, we're going to be sending out free questions. And at the same time, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Most of the questions we answer in every single one of these live streams are with free vouchers. So yeah, just go ahead and take advantage of that. Joey says, why can't I ask a question directed at you on the website? So you cannot buy questions from me at the moment. We're only answering paid team reviews, and we are answering the free start sit questions and the free trade questions. And you get those free trade questions, start sit questions by winning them in the stream by just dropping a like on the live stream, being subscribed. Or if you get the annual Mother Flocker with code FLOCK, or if you get the season pass with code FLOCK, you'll get free questions to send me on the live stream as well that way. And we also send out free questions if you get a roster review as well. Now, Taylor Matthews says, I need help with trades and or waivers. And let me go back to that. And the reason is just because if we had paid questions open 24/7, we have found that there's not enough time in the day. So if I were to open up paid questions at all times, then what would happen is I would be live streaming for 24 hours a day and we wouldn't be able to get any videos on the channel. But let me send you over some free questions, Taylor, before we dive into anything else here. This is Tay Today. Let's go through and let's look at this. We are second to last with value on this team. We are 9th in this league in total points scored. So you're not in a great spot, my friend. I will say the depth in your league is going to matter a tremendous amount. This is a 12-team start 9 format. So if the league analyzer has this correct, what that tells us is this is like a league in which you start 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes. Looking at what we have at quarterback, we have Drake May and Brock Purdy for the long term to play the matchups with. Looking at we have at running back, we have Barkley, Genty, RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins. So, I mean, realistically, Barkley, great running back 1. Genty, great RB2. Dobbins, great RB3 for the short term. RJ Harvey, great RB3 for the long term. Going over and looking at wide receiver, this is the garbage position. And what sucks for your team specifically is if you do need to start 9 guys, like you'll never be able to win the league if this is your wide receiver room. Like you need a better wide receiver 1, better wide receiver 2, better wide receiver 3, better wide receiver 4. What you would need to do in this instance is you would need to sell George Kittle and get some production at wide receiver. Like, let's go through and let's look at the teams that are at the top of this league in points scored and that need help at the tight end position. This team's rolling with Ingram and Jonnu. Is there a world in which we can send them George Kittle and in return get back like Igbuka? Can we send them Kittle and Wan'Dale Robinson and get back Igbuka? If so, that's an absolute no-brainer. This team is David Njoku and Dallas Goedert. Could we send them George Kittle and I don't know, a George Kittle and a bum wide receiver to get Wilson? George Kittle and a bum wide receiver to get Sutton? This team is Pitts, Andrews, likely. They also have a garbage wide receiver room. I just don't think they have any wide receivers that they could possibly trade you. I would love to go and try to send, like, if Mike Evans wasn't injured, to go make the play for Evans. But the issue is now that Evans is injured, this team doesn't have wide receiver production to send you. There's no way in hell you can get to Puka. No way in hell you can get to Jefferson. That team has Bowers. This team has McBride. Let's see if we can find some other teams. This team has Hawk, Taylor, and Luke Musgrave. Could we send them George Kittle and Shaheed to get to Nico? I mean, we're not going to get to Nico. To get to George Pickens? To get to Tyreek Hill? That's what you need to do. You need to do anything you can to sell Kittle to get to some wide receiver production, because wide receiver depth is incredibly important in your format. You have no wide receiver either. I'd be fine punting tight end in a league like yours. You're 1 and 2. You need points in your lineup sooner rather than later. So we're going to try to send Kittle and a bum wide receiver to get a startable receiver and then roll with Kelsey. I want to hold on to the running backs because realistically, we're going to need them for the flex. If Loveland comes back at some point healthy, I would cut Chig for Loveland for the long-term upside, but not going to fault you for not doing that while Loveland's not even playing. And then looking beyond that, your waiver wire is really barren. Like, I would probably cut Josh Reynolds for Damari Douglas. I'd probably cut Nick Westbrook-Akine for Sterling Shepard. Just because wide receiver depth matters in a league like yours, you could eventually see yourself getting those wide receivers in. And then running back, I guess like Keaton Mitchell is a viable handcuff. Jarquez Hunter. if you wanted to cut like Nick Westbrook-Akeen for Keaton Mitchell instead. But let me send you over some free questions. I already sent you over those free questions. So please, if you have anything else with this team, send it over my way. I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you, but you got to sell George Kittle here. And it looks like we just hit 100 likes on the stream. So let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions. All you got to do to get those free questions again will be subscribed to the channel, drop a like on this live stream, and then drop your flogfantasy.com username in the chat. Now, Taylor Matthews with our next team here says, I feel like I have a good team, but I'm 0-3. What do we do? We are Tequila Toy. We are 8th in the league analyzer in value. Not the best. We are dead last with this team in terms of points scored. So here's your issue. We have a bunch of rookies, and we have Rashee Rice suspended, and we lost Joe Burrow for Jamar Chase. Well, your team isn't the best right now. I think that you have some different things you can do to make it better, but yeah, we're going to have to make some plays with this. But let me go ahead and let's send a free question over to Bald Mason. We just got word that Terry McLaurin did not practice again today. So it looks like Deebo Samuel's probably going to be a must-start name. And it looks like Terry McLaurin is not going to play. Bald Dolphins just found you and just sent you over that free start set. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. Okay. Now, anyway, going back to this team, you're 0-3. You're dead last in this league with points scored. You need to fully change what we look for on your team. We are going to stop looking for long-term value, stop looking for players that can get better as time goes on. And the only thing we care about is how many points you're going to score in week 4. How many points you're going to score in week 5. You need points in your lineup right this second. So if we look at these names that I really like as buy low candidates, but we can't afford to wait for them to get better, you're going to be selling Rashee Rice. You're going to go try to find a team that's good, like this team up here, and send them Rashee Rice plus a small piece for Ted McMillan and get somebody that you can put in your starting lineup right now. You're going to try to sell Trevion Henderson. Maybe you try to send that team Rashee Rice and Trevion Henderson and get Jackson Smith and Jigba. Maybe you're going to try to sell Rashee Rice and Trevion Henderson and get Derrick Henry. Like, you need to go through and you need to sell that long-term value to a team up here at the top. This team here had the Mike Evans injury, so maybe they don't have the depth to make a trade with you right now. We can try selling Rashee Rice and Trevion Henderson for Kyron Williams. We can try selling Rashee Rice straight up for Zay Flowers. Rashee Rice and Trevion Henderson for Chuba Hubbard and Zay Flowers. Try selling Rashee Rice for George Pickens. Rashee Rice for Igbuka. They reject those. Rashee Rice for Ladd McConkey. Trevion Henderson for Trey Benson. And this team, they need depth. Can we send them Rashee Rice and Trevion Henderson for Devon Achane? Send them Trevion Henderson for Cam Scat? Like, again, I like those players, but you can't afford to hold them on to your roster. You need to go out there and you need to try to get some value for them right now. So I would go out there, I would send those 10 different offers and see if we can get somebody to bite. And then looking at what we have with waiver wire options, I would cut Antoine Wells. I would pick up Shaheed. I would cut Juju Smith-Schuster. I'd pick up Ray Davis as a premium handcuff player. And then that's probably about it. Trying to think if there's anything else that we could realistically tell you with the team like this. No, I think it's just very clear cut what we need to do, even if I don't want to. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. And yeah, let me make sure I sent you over those free questions. Let's send you over these free questions just in case there's anything that you want to follow up with. I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you. But it looks like we are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on this stream. So if you haven't already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. And when we hit 200 likes, we'll send out that next free question. Now, Eagle coming through says, hit by the Lamb injury bug, worried about my team over the next couple of weeks. Any trade/waiver wire moves you would suggest? Okay. We got Fry's team. Yeah, we're down here 10th in the league analyzer in terms of value. We are 8th in the league analyzer in terms of points scored. However, we're lucky to be 2-1, so we have some flexibility. Depth is going to matter at the skill positions with your team. It's a league in which you can start up to 6 combined running backs and receivers. There will be some pivots that we want to make, but before we get to this real quick, let me send out a free question in the chat. So again, we hit 200 likes on the stream, so if you want that free question, all you got to do is drop a like and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat, and we'll go ahead and we'll pick one of y'all to send that free question to. But Eagle, let me send you over a couple of free questions real quick, just in case there's going to be anything that you want to follow up with this team for us. I'll say before we even get into any potential trades here, anything that we want to do like that, Tyquan Thornton's going to be an easy drop for me. There's no world in which I'm wanting to play Tyquan Thornton if we have Worthy coming back. I would drop Tyquan Thornton. I would also drop Jalen Tolbert. I'd pick up the combo of Tracy and Blake Corum. I would drop Jalen McMillan. I'd pick up DJ Giddens. I would drop Jalen Coker. I would pick up Miles Sanders. Maybe a couple of these players are on your IR, whether that's Jalen McMillan, whether that's Jalen Coker. If they're on your IR, then obviously you're not able to drop them specifically because you're not going to be able to pick up a roster spot by doing so. But if any of those running backs we discussed are on your actual bench, drop them, pick up the premium handcuff RBs. And then I would also drop Harold Fannin in favor of Kyle Pitts. And then I would drop Kayshon Boutte as well for Cedric Tillman. Like, I completely want to churn every single one of these wide receivers here. If they were best ball, maybe they're interesting. But in a regular fantasy football league, there's just no way you would ever know what to get them in your lineup. But let's send this free question out to D. Morrow. Just found you on the site, my friend. Appreciate you and sent you over that free start sit. Okay. So yeah, churn the bottom end of these receivers, cut Fannin, pick up Pitts. And then going over to quarterback, obviously we're just completely fine with Josh Allen. We can start Josh Allen every week going into the future. Running back, Travis Etienne, RB1, not great. Chase Brown, RB2, not great. So again, I mean, I would like to have the depth here at the running back position. That way we have some flexibility in case anything were to go wrong. Maybe we do have like a player like Blake Corum turning into a must-start name if we were to get an injury to Kyron Williams, of course. So I want to give us some of the opportunities to backfill that running back situation. Going over to receiver, we have Lamb, long-term wide receiver 1. Then we have Tet, we have Ricky Pearsall, we have Devonta Smith. So you're in a situation in which your flex spot already before we hit the bye weeks is disgusting. Your flex at this point is like Kayshon Boutte, which I'd pick up Cedric Tillman. I'd play Tillman instead. And real quick, it looks like Ja'Cory Krosky-Barrett does not practice on Thursday either. So it sounds like Ja'Cory Krosky-Barrett and Terry McLaurin are both going to be missing. Or I'm not going to say that for sure, but it sounds like they both have a very real possibility of missing this week. Going over to what this team should do. If you were 1-2, it would be a super easy thing to say. Because you're 2-1, you have a little bit of flexibility where I don't think you absolutely have to make this pivot. I probably would, if I'm going to be honest with you, though. I think I would go through it. I think I would see what we could get for CeeDee Lamb. If you can send CeeDee Lamb over to a team that has like really strong production and a lot of points right now, I think I would. Like, if you could send CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Kincaid and get back Jalen Waddle and Trey McBride, your flex play would be dramatically improved over the next few weeks, while you would have the elite tight end over the next few weeks and in the long term as well. So, yeah, I would go ahead. I would try to send Lamb and Kincaid for Waddle and McBride. This team, I would try to send them Lamb and Harold Fannin for Malik Neighbors. This team, I'd try to send them Lamb and... You don't really have another piece. I mean, if we can send Lamb and some fab dollars for Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would love it. This team, if you could go like CeeDee Lamb and Travis Etienne to get back A.J. Brown and Amari and Hampton, I would like that as well. Just because, realistically, I don't know what you could do when it comes to, over the short term, staying alive to get CeeDee Lamb back in. It's not the worst thing in the world, considering the fact that you're in a fine spot when it comes to being 2-1, so it's not like we have to full-blown panic. But I am concerned, nonetheless, with your team, where if you're telling me, like, hey, Cedric Tillman's in our flex spot right now, and we haven't even hit the buys yet. Like, realistically, with how few points your team's already scored, and you fall to 2-3, and you're going to be near the bottom of the league standings quickly. But I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this. And let me send you over some free questions if I haven't already. I already sent those over for you. So if there's anything that you want to follow up with this team, I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you. But yeah, and then also, like I said, I would churn that waiver wire. All those wide receivers at the bottom end of your bench, I would get rid of. Now, but it looks like we just hit 300 likes on the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions. Again, all you got to do to get free questions will be drop a like on the stream, be subscribed to the channel, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. Yeah, we live stream every single day, 4 or 5 hours a day. Not going to miss a single day of streaming until Christmas. And the majority of questions that we answer in these streams are the free questions anyway. Now, this one's from One Pie Cone. Says, what's the player, Mason? Dropping Sampson today. I had 2 first-round picks from last year's trades. Why we have Jefferson and Gibbs. So we are near the very top of the league in total value right now. There are like 2 juggernaut teams, and then there are some teams here at the very bottom. This is a league in which we can start 4 wide receivers weekly. So building around a bunch of wide receiver depth matters a ton. Now, let me go ahead and send a free question in the chat real quick, just to make sure that we're good to go. Let's send this over to Phil. Phil, you know I appreciate you always hanging out with us here. Phil, just found you on the site and just sent you over a couple free questions. Thank you so much, as always, my guy. But here for One Pine Cone, I can already tell you that this is phenomenal. I'm really not going to want to do anything with this team. Because the reason is you can start 4 wide receivers weekly, right? So if we're looking at what we have at wide receiver, you're starting Jefferson, JSN, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. We have London Romadunze, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. All of these guys are in our starting lineup every single week. We have Gibbs, Hampton in at running back. We have Jalen Warren as a quality depth piece. We have a top-end quarterback and a top-end tight end. This team's perfect. Realistically, what could you possibly want to do with this team? I mean, waiver wire pivots, I would probably cut Woody Marks. I'd pick up Rachaad White. We've seen that if Bucky Irving were to get injured, Rachaad White probably turns into a must-start running back. Woody Marks may not have that same type of upside. So I would cut Marks. I'd pick up Rachaad White. One more solid week from A.O. Manor, one more bad week from Josh Downs. I would cut Downs for A.O. Manor. I would cut Tyrone Tracy for Tyler Algier. Injury occurs to Bijan Robinson. Algier becomes a must-start player every single week. But this isn't, what else can, your team's perfectly optimized for this format. The only thing I would do is a couple small waiver wire pivots. And then, like, if you could send Jalen Warren and Herbert and go get a top 4 quarterback, go get Hurts, Daniels, Lamar, Allen, you would. Like, there are a lot of teams that could use Jalen Warren and we just simply wouldn't need them. But I think that's all I got for you, my guy. Really appreciate you. Really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this. And again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, and congrats on having an absolute juggernaut of a team. Okay, let's move this over to Phil. Phil just sent you over those free questions. We'll make sure you have a couple extra ones, though, saying, hey, Mason, I'm 2-1 with the most points in the league analyzer. My team dropped 180 this week, even with the Big Q and Judkins on the bench. The league is super active with trades. Some are still pending. Wondering if I should just let them do what they do or make a move. So let's go ahead and let's see what we got here. This is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. We're number 1 in value. We're number 1 in points for. So the expectation is this is an absolute God squad. Now, Phil says the trade was accepted yesterday. Big Q for Hubbard with this team. You traded Quentin Johnson for Hubbard? Like, this is insane. You're telling me we have Gibbs, Taylor, Brees, Hubbard, Judkins, and Jordan Mason. Very clearly the play with this team is we find some teams that need some running back production, and we try to send them Brees Hall and Drake London for a wide receiver upgrade. Judkins and Devonta Smith for a wide receiver upgrade. And I'm assuming this is an issue with the league analyzer. Maybe this is like a pending trade right now, and that's why they're showing up on the waiver wire. Like, I would be surprised, and you can let me know if I'm wrong here. But Phil, there's no way Sutton's actually on waivers, right? Because if so, you would cut Addison for Sutton. You'd cut Travis Hunter for Godwin if those players are on the waiver wire right now. But we have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight end with Josh Allen as well as Brock Bowers. It's a league in which you only start 2 receivers and a flex. So if we're looking at what we have here at quarterback and tight end, realistically, like, QB and tight end is going to be dominating. And you're saying, no, Sutton's out there and I have a waiver wire claim for. You're going to crush your league. How the hell can your league compete with this team? Like, let's go find the teams that are desperate at running back and see if we can send them any running back production. We are the number 1 team in the league analyzer at RB. This team has Josh Jacobs and they just lost James Conner and Najee Harris. Is there a world in which we can send them Judkins and Devonta Smith? Like, they don't even have a good enough wide receiver to keep up with us. They have nothing. This team's RB3 is Rachaad White. Their RB1 is DeAndre Swift. Could you send them Judkins and Devonta Smith for Rome Odunze? Could we send them Jordan Mason and Travis Hunter for Garrett Wilson? It's like, if you're telling me we can pick up freaking Cortland Sutton and Chris Godwin for free, right? Opening up a roster spot and getting Sutton as well is extremely valuable here. Going over and looking at what we have with this team is Chase Brown, RB1, and they have like no RB3. Could we try sending them Brees Hall and Drake London for Justin Jefferson? This team is Pollard as their RB2. They really don't have an RB3 at the moment. Can we try sending them Brees Hall and Drake London for Amon-Ra St. Brown? Quinshon Judkins and Travis Hunter for Brian Thomas. This team is Ramondre Stevenson as their RB2. Could we try sending them Breece Hall and Quinshon Judkins for Bijan Robinson? Breece Hall and Chuba Hubbard for Bijan Robinson? This team has Kamara, Montgomery, RJRV, Pacheco. They don't really have like anything that we'd be interested in, though. Their team's just too bad. This team just lost Lamb. Hell, I mean, you can afford to go get Lamb. Could we try sending them Breece Hall and Devonta Smith for CeeDee Lamb? Your team's so loaded, and the depth really doesn't matter in this league to the extent that like we're going to be able to easily get by with no Lamb. And by the time he does come back, obviously he still would give us an elite positional advantage. So that's what I'm trying to do here, my guy. I mean, you're clearly crushing your league mates. I'm assuming Ayuk's on the IR, so we're not going to be able to cut him, but I'd cut Hunter and Addison for Sutton and Godwin. And then we would try to sell that running back depth piece. But you have by far and away the best team in your league. You have the most points in your league as well. So I think you're just going to kind of walk all over these guys. But I really appreciate you. And you should have like a bunch of free questions in the chat as well. If there's anything else that we could take a look at for you, my guy, I'd be super happy to dive into it. Now, let's go ahead and let's check this out for Jay Jr. Says, howdy, 2-keeper league with Puka expiring after this year. So in general, if it's like a 2-player keeper where you have expiring keepers, it's just a redraft league. Don't think about long-term value here. My running back room is disgusting. Thoughts on moving one of my 2 elite players for a similar player in a piece? Example, Puka and Ramondre for Neighbors and Scat. Would really hate that. I'd be able to keep both these 2. Thanks for the help over the past 2 years. Appreciate you, my friend. Here's my thing. Again, 2-player keeper. In general, we just kind of want to treat it as if it's a redraft format. If you were looking at like Cam Scattaboo, what are the odds he's a top 24 player that we're actually wanting to keep going into next season? They're slim. Hope I'm wrong here. I have him on my team. I hope he crushes. But still, at the same time, it's tough. Now, looking at what we have at quarterback, we have the combo of Bo and Dart. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So quarterback's going to make up a very high percentage of our starting lineup output. So not a great quarterback room. Hopefully Dart comes in, gives us some rushing upside, and all of a sudden we can be more excited about this than we are now. Here's the thing. Your team is going to dominate just because we have the running back 1 and the wide receiver 1 overall. We're 2-1. We've scored 315 points. Having CMC and Puka Nacua here is going to excuse a lot of maybe the questions that we have surrounding the roster. I understand the thought process on, hey, if I pivot off of Puka Nacua and get the combo of Malik Neighbors and Cam Scat, I can keep Malik Neighbors next year. And sure, by all means, if you want to do it, go for it. Because if we look at your keepers, if we can't keep Puka, like it's like CMC and Sutton. And obviously we don't know how excited we're going to be about McCaffrey next year when he's another year older. We have JMO wide receiver 4. So we have enough depth at wide receiver, right? But at the same time, it's not like we're overloaded. So in general, I'm okay with you making a trade in which you sell Puka Nacua and you get back another wide receiver and a running back. Particularly another wide receiver that we can view as an elite keeper for next season. Now, I would not care about like, oh, give me Cam Scat, because if we're looking at Cam Scat, he all of a sudden is projecting to be a keeper next year. Outside of the Malik Neighbors tier, guys, you don't really know exactly who we can plan on keeping 9 months from now. looking at some of the teams that maybe have these wide receivers that we could tier down to, the thing is, the difference in points per game from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 6 is massive. Looking at what we have here with this team that has Malik Neighbors and JSN, like the issue is they don't really have that running back depth. I mean, I would almost rather go like Puka and Ferg for Neighbors and McBride. Puka and Ferg for JSN and McBride. This team has St. Brown. They don't have that much running back depth either. I would like to go Puka and Bo Nix for St. Brown and Lamar. They have Justin Herbert. Maybe they're interested. But again, like the issue is like the deals that I'm throwing out here, we're probably just not going to be able to get because I'm going to value Puka Nacua so much higher than how the majority of people playing would. This team has CeeDee Lamb and Amari Hampton. If it wasn't for the Lamb injury, we can maybe have something here. But if you wanted to try to go like CeeDee Lamb and Amari and Hampton for Puka Nacua, if you're a 3-0, that would be more interesting. But I mean, we are 2-1, right? So you have some flexibility with being able to do this. I probably don't make that trade right now, but what I probably look to do is a few weeks from now, go through and try to flip Puka Nacua for like Lamb and Hampton. Don't view Scat anything more than what it's going to be this season. Like these players like Neighbors, St. Brown, Puka, Lamb, like we know you're keeping those guys next year, but in a 2-player keeper league, Scat's going to be a marginal keeper if he even is one. But let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything that I can help you out with. Really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. But it looks like we just hit 400 likes in the stream. So let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions in the chat. Again, all you got to do to get those free questions in the chat will be drop a like on the live stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. Now, our next team's going to be Marcox Pluto. Says, hey, Mason, love the content. Keep up the great work. Just traded Hampton and Keon for Henderson and Chase. Is that Jamar or is that... Yeah, that's Jamar. That's crazy. Sounds stupid, but he had Henderson and Rashad White starting since Connor's done. A phenomenal deal. I'm 1-2, shaky on starting Henderson, and I'm not big on Chase either. Well, it doesn't matter if you're big on Chase or not. It doesn't matter if you're shaky on Henderson. That price point's so good that you just simply had to make that trade. You didn't have another option. But give me 1 second to send out a free question to somebody in the chat real quick. Let's send this to Anthony the Goat. Just found you, my friend. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream and just sent you over a free start sit question. Now, here we are the #1 team in the league analyzer. We've scored 351 points, so we're near the bottom of the league in points scored. At the same time, we are 1-2. But the reason we're the #1 team in value is not because the team that we had a week ago, right? It's because the team that we have post Jamar Chase trade. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So realistically, as we look at this team, I mean, you're in a spot in which quarterback's going to make up a high percentage of your starting lineup output. So is tight end. It's not necessarily a league in which the skill positional depth is going to matter a ton. We have the elite tight end with Trey McBride, arguably the tight end 1 overall in fantasy football. So absolutely love to see that in a format like this. Quarterback maybe is a little bit shaky, and honestly, there's a chance that we can eventually afford to upgrade quarterback. We have Bo Nix and Kyler Murray. Like, we're fine playing the matchups between these two guys weekly, right? Is it the most exciting thing in the world? Not particularly, but we can get by with it. And like as an example, this week, Bo Nix, incredible matchup against Cincinnati, right? So you're excited to start Bo Nix this week. Looking over at what we have at running back, we have Gibbs, Trevion, RB1, RB2. We have Ja'Cory Cross-Camara at RB3, currently injured. Does not look like he's going to be viable anytime soon. So realistically, as we sit here with waiver wire pivots, I probably would pick up Rachaad White. Rachaad White could be a desperation start during the buys, while at the same time, if you were to get an injury to Bucky Irving, he does become a league winner. So I would cut like either Kareem Hunt or Kyle Monangai and pick up Rachaad White. Wide receiver, we're starting Chase, Igbuka, Brian Thomas. We have Keenan Allen on the bench. What you could try doing is sending Keenan Allen for a running back play that's getting volume right now, but maybe a shaky long-term upside. So, I mean, if you could go through and if you could possibly like send Keenan Allen for Tony Pollard, I think that would make a lot of sense here. Because then you can play Tony Pollard in the short term. You still have Chase Igbuka, Brian Thomas in at wide receiver in the flex anyway. You have the long-term wide receiver depth of Xavier Worthy, who will eventually be okay. So, yeah, I think this team, cut Hunt or Monangai, pick up Rachaad White. I would cut both Kareem Hunt and Kyle Monangai, pick up Rachaad White and Woody Marks. I would try to send Keenan Allen for the depth running backs such as Tony Pollard. Start Pollard at running back 2 in the short term. Believe in Travion Henderson at RB2 in the long term. We're great at receiver, great at tight ends. And maybe in the long term we can make a play at quarterback, but definitely can't afford it in the short term. So instead we're just going to be sitting with what we have when it comes to playing the matchups between Bo and Kyler. But great team. I really appreciate you. Let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want me to follow up with. I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you, my guy. But actually, we got another team sent in. Says, had to double up on the review for both leagues. Started 0-3 and waiting on Rice to come back. Lost last week by half a point. It's been rough. Would love your thoughts on possible trades or moves. We have Gibbs in both leagues, so I want to hold on to him. Here's the thing. I just had Rashee Rice in a buy low video. I think on a team like mine where I'm 3-0, I would love going and trading for Rashee Rice. But for you, if you're 0-3, you have to sell Rice right this second. Right now, our flex spot is being filled with Stephon Diggs, and our wide receiver 2 is Brian Thomas. So realistically speaking, what I think you need to do is I think you need to go to every owner in your league that has a decent amount of production at the moment and see if they'll trade for Rashee Rice. Like, let's sort your league by points scored. We're near the bottom here. If this team here has Amon-Ra, T. Higgins, like we're not trading Rice for Higgins. You can try to send like Rice for Kamara to throw Kamara in a flex. I would send Rice for Tet, George Pickens, or Ladd McConkey if I was 0-3. This team has Sutton. I would try to send Rashee Rice for Cortland Sutton if I was 0-3. And the thing is, I don't want to use Rice as like a 2-for-1 up tier because you just don't have a lot of wide receiver depth. Like, the problem isn't necessarily our wide receiver 1 specifically or our RB1 or our running back 2. The problem is we look at what we have in the flex spot. So I would be trying to send Rashee Rice, like I said. And just try to get one wide receiver back. Go try to get Zay Flowers here. Go try to get Jacoby Myers. Go try to get Igbuka. In terms of waiver wire pivots, I would cut Dermacado. I'd pick up Rachaad White. I would cut Josh Downs. I'd pick up Travis Hunter. I would even cut Kyle Monunga and I'd pick up Darnell Mooney. Like most of the time, I'd rather have the backup running back. But in your instance specifically, it's like Darnell Mooney, if he hits, he actually could fill your flex with how limited our depth is, especially as we go through the bye weeks. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And let me just make sure that you have a bunch of free questions in case there's anything else that you want me to follow up with. But yeah, definitely make those 3 waiver wire pivots. And you got to sell Rice to get something in right now because we cannot afford to fall to 0-4. Okay. Let's move this over to our next team. This is going to be from Clayton Cox. This is Teenage Mutant JSN Turtles. Let's look at where we're at. We are 6th in the league analyzer in terms of value. However, we're dead last in terms of points. So yeah, that's what I thought. We're going to have a bunch of rookies on this team, right? We had Amari Hampton doing absolutely nothing for us. Now Amari Hampton looks like he's going to be a league winner. We had the Aaron Jones injury. We had the Justin Fields injury. We had A.J. Brown falling flat through the first 2 weeks. So this is a team that's needed some help. Okay. Now let's look at what we have position by position. Quarterback, we have Purdy and Fields. We can play the matchups here between these two guys. Is it the most exciting thing in the world? Realistically, probably not, but the best option on the waiver wire there is Jackson Dart. So obviously, we're not super excited about picking up Dart. Now, looking at what we have when it comes to running back, this is a league in which you only start 2 receivers in a flex. So realistically, you could get one of these running backs in a flex if our wide receiver depth's not particularly there. We have Amari Hampton looking like a league winner. Travis Etienne, Jordan Mason. So running back's not a problem whatsoever. Running back, we're actually really strong now. I mean, we were extremely weak earlier. Okay. Luca, you're going to get muted if you keep copying and pasting, by the way. Can somebody please mute Luca? But looking at what we have with the starting lineup, again, if Jordan Mason's in our flex, you're in a really, really good spot. Going over and looking at what we have at wide receiver, we have JSN, A.J. Brown as must-start wide receivers every week. Ricky Pearsall as a quality depth name. Tyler Warren looks like an elite tight end. So realistically, going into the future, this team's completely fine. It's structured fine as well. It's not like we have a lot of value that's being wasted on the bench that we can turn into points in this lineup right now. Like, realistically, I would really like, if possible, if we could go through and sell Aaron Jones and get like an upgrade at quarterback, even if it's not a massive one, but just somebody that we're more confident with right now. Just because you obviously have Purdy and Fields both banged up. But I'm just going to assume that that's not really going to be possible for us. Going through and looking at the waiver wire plays, you don't really have many available. Your league mates look like they know what they're doing. So again, the only thing that I think could be interesting here is getting any value whatsoever from Aaron Jones in a 2-for-1 deal, where we hopefully try to sell Aaron Jones and like Purdy to get a QB upgrade. Or Aaron Jones. And like the thing is, you don't even need a skill positional upgrade because your flex spot's Jordan Mason for the time being. So your flex is incredibly strong. So I hate to tell it to you, but I think you have a fine team. I think obviously it struggled early in the year, but now that Jordan Mason looks like a league winner and Amari Hampton looks great as well, I think it's going to be much, much better going into the future than how it has been. But I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way here with this. Let me go ahead and send you over some free questions real quick, just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with. But the team's a lot better now than it was at the beginning part of the year. Now let's move this over to Jace. Says, feeling the pressure at 1 and 2 and Lamb going down. Should I look to trade him considering my receiver situation or hold out because I just gained an amazing flex in Benson? So here's the thing. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. So the depth's not going to matter much. So my assumption, to be honest, is going to be that we'll probably be able to get by with what we have on the team, but we will see. 1 and 2, obviously, we are focusing on how do we get points in this lineup right now. So pulling this up, we are 7th in the league in terms of value on this team. We have 305 points, so we are second to last in terms of points in our starting lineup. Looking at quarterback, we have the combo of Bo Nix and Purdy. That's going to be completely fine, right? Not the strongest quarterback room in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but Bo Nix, really strong play this week given the matchup. And then if we're going to be looking at what we have long-term, getting the optionality of going Brock Purdy is nice as well. And we can play just the matchup game, go back and forth between these 2 QBs. Then going over and looking at what we have when it comes to running back, we have Josh Jacobs, Amari, and Hampton. So we have a quality RB1, quality RB2. We have Judkins and Trey Benson. So like you just hit on 2 potential flexes, right? So realistically speaking, I don't necessarily think like, oh yeah, you just have 1 flex. You have plenty of depth at running back. Your wide receiver 2 is going to be very weak though. So realistically, 1 and 2 team, yeah, I think you trade Lamb. I think you have a very easy trade on your hands. First things first, I would cut Troy Franklin here. I would probably cut Troy Franklin in favor of Stephon Diggs. I think you could also potentially move on from Harold Fana to get to like Rachaad White, where if you were to get an injury to Bucky Irving, Rachaad White turns into a league winner. But I think the play is you just simply sell like either Judkins or Benson in a package with CeeDee Lamb to pivot over to another elite wide receiver. That's actually healthy because you're 1 and 2. We need points in the lineup right now. We don't exactly need the running back depth because you have both Judkins and Trey Benson coming on strong. So if you could go through and if you could trade the combination of like Quinshon Judkins and CeeDee Lamb and get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, get to Jefferson, get to Chase, get to Nico Collins, I think I would love to do that. And if you can't get it with Judkins, do it with Trey Benson. Really just whoever your league mates prefer at running back there. It's not really going to make a difference for us. And then, yeah, that way you're starting like Nico Collins, Sutton at wide receiver, then Jacobs, Hampton at running back, and then like Trey Benson in the flex. And we're strong at quarterback and tight end. So if you didn't have the Lamb injury, I think actually what I'd probably have wanted to do is I'd probably want to sell one of the depth running backs with the quarterback to get to an elite QB. But I think instead you just sell one of the depth running backs with the receiver like CeeDee Lamb to get to the elite healthy wide receiver right now. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And overall, a really strong team, to be honest, because we hit on both those running backs now. Now let's move this over to Wilson. Says 12-team tight end premium league with an extra game against the league median. We got demolished this past week, but we're still 4 and 2. Someone dropped Andrews after the second week. Do we package him in a trade? Is reminder droppable? Do not put in a bid on Torrey Horton. If you have Torrey Horton, that's not great. All right, let's see what we got here. We are Kings Court. We are 7th in the league analyzer in terms of value. We are 4 and 2. We've scored 316 points, so we're 10th in the league in terms of points scored. But 4 and 2, we can afford to think a little bit long term. It's also a pretty big tight end premium. You're getting an extra 3/4 point per reception. So in that instance, you could say that you have both Andrews and Kelsey as startable pieces. It's a league in which you can start up to 6 skill positional players weekly, not including tight ends. So like depth here does matter somewhat, but you have Tony Pollard RB4. We have Brian Thomas, Debo, Marv at wide receiver right now, and Keenan White right now. And we have Rashee Rice. So here's the thing I would want to do on your team. I would really want to go through and I'd want to sell some of these depth pieces and get an upgrade inside the starting lineup. I think you can afford it. Like if you have Judkins coming on strong here If there's a way in which we can sell Alvin Kamara and Jared Goff and go get Josh Allen, if we can sell Alvin Kamara, Jared Goff, get to Lamar Jackson, those would be no-brainer deals. I would also be willing to do it for Jalen Hurts. I'd be willing to do it for Jaden Daniels. Obviously, that's a little bit closer. But realistically, like, you're going to have wide receivers to put in the flex. You're going to have tight ends to put in the flex. You have 4 startable running backs. So realistically, I think we're just trying to send Kamara and Goff to get to like Daniels. Because you get to Daniels, obviously he's injured right now. Maybe we're not able to start him this week. You throw Jordan Love in instead. And then after we get by the week and Daniels is healthy and we're able to start playing him again, like, you're able to, at that point, go through and drop the backup quarterback. We'll have 2 open roster spots. You can pick up Rachaad White, Braylon Allen for free. So all of a sudden, you can actually look at having 2 extra premium handcuff backs at the bottom end of your team. And then we are just waiting for Rashee Rice to come back in the long term. So I like the team a lot. I think it's just, how do we get to the elite level QB? Looking at some of the teams that really need help with running back depth. Which one do any of them have a top end quarterback? Ooh, click the wrong button there. Yeah, this team is Allen and they have Justin Herbert. And Dobbins is their RB2. Dylan Sampson's their RB3. So if they're feeling like good with Herbert, is there a world in which we could send them like Derrick Henry and Jared Goff to get to Josh Allen? As if you send them Derrick Henry and Jared Goff to get to Allen, they have Herbert. All of a sudden, they can actually put Derrick Henry in their starting lineup and their running back room is completely fine with the depth. I think that could be a move that helps both of y'all. And then you could drop the other quarterback like Jordan Love. And then you'd have 2 open roster spots to pick up both Rachaad White and Braylon Allen. And then you have 2 of the premium guys. Or 2 of the premium handcuffs. But yeah, and then obviously we want to be holding what we have with wide receivers because we are 4-2, so we can't afford to think long-term. And long-term, this wide receiver room is going to be good once we get Rashee Rice in, even if it struggles right now. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And let me go ahead and send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you wanted to follow up with. But actually, I got to log in and log back out for us to do this. And as I do this, I want to remind y'all, please, if you haven't already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel. Every 100 likes we get, we're giving away free questions on this stream, as we always do. I live stream every single day answering fantasy football questions. I'm not going to miss a single day answering these questions. And the majority of the questions that we answer on each live stream are the free ones. So, and actually it looks like we just hit 500 likes as well. So we'll go ahead and we'll send out a free question in the live chat right now. So again, just go ahead, drop that like, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat, and we'll pick one of y'all to send the free vouchers to. But let's send them over right now to Wilson. Really appreciate you, my guy. Really hope I was able to help you out in some way here. And if there's anything that you want to follow up with, I'd be super happy to try to help you out. But you should have those free vouchers in your account now. Now, Jay Stark, this looks like it's going to be a Dynasty League, so we're going to wait a second on that. This next one's going to be from Zachary. Zachary, appreciate you as always, my guy. And let me go through and pull up this site real quick so we can find one of y'all to send some free questions to. Let's send this over to Reed. Reed M785. Just found you, my guy. Appreciate you always hanging out with us and just sent you over that free start sit question. But Zach, you know, always excited to see you. Let's go ahead. Let's send you over some free questions. Says, just lost James Conner for the season. We have 2 offers I can combine. JSN for Debo and Garrett Wilson. Would hate it. Ridley Pearsall for Kyron. Would love the Kyron deal. Or just JSN for Josh Allen or Kyron and Marv. I'd rather hold on to JSN there. The trade that I would like out of this is trading Ridley and Pearsall for Kyron Williams. That would be by far and away the best deal. Let's see if there's anything else that we could do with this. We are currently 7th in the league analyzer with value. Scored 345 points, so we're near the bottom of the league in points scored, while at the same time, this is a league in which you only start 2 wide receivers in a flex. So if you start 2 wide receivers in a flex here, like the depth's not going to matter much. And it looks like we got lucky to hit on Scat. So we lost James Conner, but we hit on Cam Scatterbo in the same week, so that is going to kind of save us. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I would like having the elite quarterback. I would like having the elite tight end here if possible. We do have one of them. We have the elite tight end with Trey McBride, which is nice to see. Going over and looking at what we have with QB. Like, there is Brock Purdy out there on waivers. So realistically, I think you can go through. I think that you can just pick up Brock Purdy for free and long-term play the matchups here with Brock Purdy and Kyler Murray. I don't necessarily think your team is strong enough to be able to make that 2-for-1 deal to upgrade to an elite quarterback, even if I would like to, because it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So I would probably just cut Dylan Sampson and pick up Brock Purdy for the long term. Going over and looking at what we have at running back, we have Genty RB1, not great. Scat RB2, not great. But realistically, if we were to upgrade running back, where would that value come from? Like, because we can get by with these running backs, even if it's not the most exciting thing in the world. It's going to be okay. And we don't have the expendable value at wide receiver. Like, we have the elite wide receiver 1 with JSN. We have a quality wide receiver 2 in Pearsall. We have Golden Ridley, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. Like I said, I mean, if you could go through, if you could sell Pearsall and Ridley and go get Kyron, then all of a sudden you're starting like Genty, Kyron at running back, throw Scat in the flex, JSN wide receiver 1. Then we have a weak wide receiver 2 with Ridley. But you'd have an open roster spot where we could pick up Jaden Higgins or Jaden Reed just for some long-term upside. Or realistically, what you could do is you could try to flip Kyle Pitts for a wide receiver to just get by there at wide receiver 2. But also you have the outside chance that all of a sudden Matthew Golden turns into a league winner, right? So let's go through and let's look at what we have with a potential team that could use a tight end here. This team has Kelsey. Maybe they're interested in Pitts. Like if you could flip Kyle Pitts for Quentin Johnston, who's their wide receiver 5. Maybe that would be interesting. This team has Kincaid. They have no wide receivers whatsoever to send us, though. Their wide receiver room is even worse than ours. This team is David Njoku at tight ends. If we could send like Kyle Pitts for Jawan Jennings to potentially fill that wide receiver 2 spot that way, I think that'd be very interesting as well. So I like the Kyron trade. I would cut Dylan Sampson. I would pick up Brock Purdy. I would make the Kyron deal. I would also try to send like Kyle Pitts for a wide receiver in the range of like Jawan Jennings. But let me make sure you have free questions so you can send in questions. You already got them. Okay, perfect. So you can send in questions whenever you want. But I really appreciate you, my guy, and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way. I'm sorry that it took us so long to get to this. We've been going as much as we possibly can. We've been streaming 4 or 5 hours every day, which I know you know. But let's move this over to our next one. This is going to be, oh, and Zach's here as well. Perfect. Happy to see you, my friend. But let's look at this from Dania. Says, just traded Jacobs and Pittman for Jamar Chase. I'm 1 and 2. Any thoughts on what to do with my running backs in general? Interesting trade. It's a league in which you can start 4 wide receivers weekly, so the depth does matter. We're 4th in the league in total points scored. We're 4th in the league analyzer with value. However, we are 1 and 2, so we've gotten a little unlucky here. Our starting lineup at the moment is Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Breece, Etienne at running back, Chase Jefferson at receiver, A.J. Brown, Judkins in the flex. We have the long-term play of Godwin. This is a crazy good team. Waiver wire pivot-wise, like I think you probably don't need Jackson Dart if we have Jalen Hurts here. So realistically, I would cut Jackson Dart. I would pick up Josh Downs. It's a league in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. So you still do have the upside case that Josh Downs turns into an every week starter in this format. So cut dart, pick up downs. And then, to be honest with you, my guy, I don't do anything else outside of that. Your team's good enough where we roll with it as is. We wait until hopefully Godwin, Diggs, Ayuk get more valuable as time goes on. We have Hunter Henry as a play at the moment at tight ends, who looks fine. We have enough running back production, but it's not like we have a bunch of expendable production where we can sell it for better tight ends. This may be the shortest team review we do in this live stream, but it's a league in which you're incentivized to build around wide receiver, which is exactly what we've done. We're number one in the league analyzer at receiver. We're okay at running back. We're okay at tight end. We're great at quarterback. So I think if anything, you've gotten a little unlucky to only be fourth. I guess actually, no, you just made the trade for Jamar Chase. So your team's actually a lot better now than it was. But I really appreciate you, my guy, and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. I know this was maybe the shortest we've ever looked at a team, but again, I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you to blow up your team when you don't need to, just for the purpose of making trades. I think that you actually just kind of leave this as is. But it does look like we had 600 likes in the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions. If y'all want those free questions, all you got to do is make sure you drop a like on the live stream, be subscribed to the channel, and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. And it's completely free to have those, to have an account on flockfantasy.com. Just use code FLOCK. That way, if you win, we can go ahead and we know who to send that free question over to. Now, this is going to be from Basarthi, and this is going to take me a little bit of time to pull up these screenshots. So, perfect time to send that free question over anyway. Let's pick somebody in the chat real quick. Pick Sky274. Just found you, my friend, and just sent you over that free start sit question. Appreciate you hanging out with us. And let me move this over to the advice column so we can pull this up for Basarth. It says, I'm 2-1, looking to trade some running backs for an upgrade. Let me know what you think we should do. Okay, will do, my friend. And let's check this out. All right. Now here, this is a league in which you only start 2 wide receivers and a flex. So the skill positional depth's not going to matter too much. I would like having a top end quarterback here if possible. I would like having a top end tight end here if possible. Quarterback, we have Bo Nix. Down on the bench, we have Daniel Jones. So realistically, we have 2 quarterbacks that we can play the matchups with weekly. So overall, like what we have at QB. Now, going over to see what we have at running back, yeah, like you're saying, we for sure want to sell a running back. It's just stupid simple. As you have Achane locked and loaded RB1, Swift getting volume, Kamara, Judkins, Scat. So you have 5 startable running backs. And we can realistically only start 2 because we have 3 elite receivers with Neighbors, JSN, and Rome Odunze. So if we have 5 startable running backs and 3 elite level wide receivers in a league in which you can only start a combined 5 of those positions, like, it's very clear. You just take a running back and you sell him with the quarterback. Take a running back, sell him with the tight end to go get an upgrade to an elite onesie because you can afford it. Like, there's going to be a team in your league that could use Alvin Kamara. Like, can we sell Alvin Kamara and Bo Nix to get to Jaden Daniels, to get to Jalen Hurts? You'll probably not get to Lamar. You'll probably not get to Josh Allen. I'll send the offer anyway. Could we send Alvin Kamara and Juwan Johnson to get to Brock Bowers? Obviously, like, Juwan's been better than Bowers so far this season, but I wouldn't expect that to last for the rest of the year. Could we go ahead and could we send Devon Achane and Juwan Johnson for McBride, Devon Achane and Bo Nix for Josh Allen, Devon Achane and Bo Nix for Lamar Jackson? As if you can go ahead and do that, like, it doesn't really even hurt you. You can just slide Alvin Kamara into your starting lineup, and the points per game drop off between Achane and Kamara is probably going to be less than the points per game drop off between Josh Allen and Bo Nix. So I wouldn't try to like send 2 running backs together to just get a better running back. Like obviously you can if nothing else works. But instead, what I would probably try doing is I would probably try and to see if we can get to an elite quarterback or an elite tight end, because when you have those 5 startable running backs, obviously you can afford it. But I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this. Let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything that you wanted to follow up with. I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you, my friend. Okay, so let's move this over to our next question. This next one's going to be from Hood Pope. Says, is there a trade to be made for a possible bell cow top 10 running back where I can plug in and play and not worry about the matchups? This team's extremely solid and has me undefeated and a trade happy league though. So it feels like my position of the undefeated team is better. All right, let's see what this is. So we are the first in the league analyzer in value and in record. We are third in the league analyzer, or third in the league when it comes to scoring. So it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So realistically, the depth with the skill positions isn't going to matter much. And instead, you are highly incentivized to have the elite quarterback, highly incentivized to have the elite tight ends. We have Jaden Daniels. So we have the elite quarterback in the long term. We have Drake May as well for like the short-term fill-in if Daniels doesn't play. Like Drake May's in a great spot against Carolina. So we have the elite QB. Going over and looking at running back, I would say this is probably the weakest position on the team. You can just see the league analyzer saying we're third in this league at quarterback, third in this league at tight ends, first at wide receiver, 9th at running back. My thing is, if Michael Pittman Jr. is your wide receiver 5 and you can only ever start 2 receivers in a flex in this league, like obviously this wide receiver depth is kind of unnecessary to this point. So, I mean, what I would love to do if possible is if you possibly could go ahead and try to send like Michael Pittman Jr. and Javonte Williams or Michael Pittman Jr. and Breece Hall to get a running back upgrade, by all means, let's go for it. Like if you can send Pittman and Breece and get to Amari and Hampton, get to Kyron Williams, I would love it. But also I would say if your league's not really going to be making... Actually, no, you're saying your league is a trade-happy league. Then hell yeah, let's try to go through and make that move. Let's try to send Devonta Smith and Javonte and go get one of those running backs. Or Michael Pittman and Breece to go get one of those RBs. And you can also open up a roster spot where we can pick up Rachaad White as the premium handcuff back. I would also give ourselves another out for another premium handcuff back, like to just cut Cedric Tillman for Rachaad White if you're unable to make that 2-for-1 deal. Because realistically, if Michael Pittman Jr. is your wide receiver 5 here, you're just simply never going to start Cedric Tillman. Like you have Nico and Puka locked and loaded at wide receiver every week. And realistically, like Myers is just an auto flex. And if you don't want to flex Myers, it's because you're putting in another running back in that flex spot like Judkins when you have all the running back depth in the world. We have the elite tight end with Bowers. So this is an incredible team. The only thing to do with this team is try to send Smith with Breeze, try to send Pittman with Javonte to go get an upgrade at running back. With the open roster spot, pick up Rachaad White. And if you're unable to pull off a trade like that, I would still cut Cedric Tillman for Rachaad White because frankly, like the wide receiver depth piece like Tillman will never hit your starting lineup. If it was best ball, then sure, because they'll give you a couple random usable weeks, but Rachaad White would never hit your lineup outside the instance that we get a Bucky Irving injury, but if Bucky were to go down, then at that point, Rachaad White probably does turn into a league winner. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. But you have a phenomenal team here. But let's move this over to our next one. This is going to be for Pinhead Carey. This is wide receiver U. We are 5th in the league analyzer with value. We've scored over 500 points. This looks like it's a pretty big keeper league. This looks like the league analyzer is telling us that you keep 11 players. So I'm going to look at this in two different ways. I'm going to look at this as if it is a league in which you actually keep 11 players. And I'm going to look at this as if it's a league in which you just have it as a redraft format. But we are right in the middle of the league in terms of total points scored, and it's pretty deep roster. So, yeah, I do think it's probably a keeper league. Okay. And Pinhead Carey, if you're out here and you want to clarify, that would be nice. But here, quarterback, we have Daniels, we have Goff, we have Dak. I'm going to assume that this is not a Superflex league. If it's not a Superflex league, I think you can probably go ahead and cut Dak Prescott and pick up Woody Marks. If it is a Superflex format, then obviously ignore me. And then I understand maybe you can say, oh, well, I know that Dak Prescott's going to be playing next year, and I know that I would want to keep him. But it's like, do you really want to keep 3 quarterbacks out of the 11 players you can? So I would go ahead and I would cut Dak. You're not really ever starting him here anyway over Goff after the CeeDee Lamb injury. And Woody Marks, DJ Giddens, Ollie Gordon, these are handcuffed running backs that actually could make a difference for you. Looking at what we have at running back, we have Javonte, Chuba Hubbard, both running backs that obviously look very good for this week, but I will say that we are probably not planning on them being much in the long term. You do have Scat in the long term here, which is nice to see. And also Scat, obviously RB3 for this season as well, looks really strong. And then wide receiver, you should be able to start up to 4 wide receivers here weekly. So the depth is going to matter. We have JSN, we have Lamb, we have Rome, we have Sutton, we have Ladd. So we have 5 startable wide receivers in the long term, but nice that we have this depth because realistically, I mean, if we are sitting here with the CeeDee Lamb injury, you are going to need to be able to put Ladd McConkey in. So like, we do want to kind of hold on to what we have here at wide receiver. That depth's going to matter, especially with the Lamb injury. We are 2-1 as well. We're at a decent spot with points scored. So, and we can fill out a starting lineup easily. So, I mean, you're not necessarily in a situation in which you need to sell CeeDee Lamb. And then if we're looking at what we have when it comes to tight ends, we have Jake Ferguson, who obviously is just a must-start player every single week post CeeDee Lamb injury. And then, like, waiver wire wise, I'm not really wanting to do anything in terms of like Isaiah. Like, the only thing that I would probably do here is I would drop Torrey Horton. I would drop Dak Prescott. I would optimize for some more running back depth by picking up like Woody Marks and DJ Giddens or Woody Marks and Ollie Gordon. We would wait for CeeDee Lamb to come back in the long term. But I think outside of that, the team's perfectly fine, whether it's a keeper league or a regular redraft format. Obviously, the Lamb injury really hurts when we're built all around the Dallas Cowboys offense. But yeah, then you just cut the depth wide receivers. You cut Dak, assuming it's a 1 quarterback format. You pick up some handcuffed running backs off waivers, and then you probably call it a day there. And then you could also consider cutting Isaiah Likely for Loveland if we get positive news regarding the Loveland injury. But I really appreciate you. And really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. But let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything that you want to follow up with. Okay. And let's move this over to our next question. This is going to be from Young Stowe. Says, not good, man. Went from the best team according to the power rankings, and now we are last. With a big Blad, what happened? Injuries? Yeah, you just lost Lamb and Evans. You're cooked. Any possible way you could see me finishing 6th or better, any moves you'd make to think about. Either way, thanks for the help. Your grind doesn't go unnoticed. Really appreciate you, my guy. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chief. You're cooked here. We scored 264 points, which is dead last by a wide margin. We're 0-3. You've dealt with a multitude of injuries. The Burrow injury hurts Chase Brown. Lamb gets injured. Mike Evans gets injured. Travis Hunter turns to dust. Here's what you need to do when it comes to saving this team. We no longer care about long-term upside. Even both your quarterbacks got injured. The only thing that is going to matter here for your team will be, what can you do for me right now? You have to sell CeeDee Lamb. You have to sell Mike Evans. There's no way around it. Ship these guys off the second that you can. You have to sell Travis Hunter if you can get anything for him. It's a league in which you can start 4 wide receivers in your starting lineup. So right now your lineup is Purdy or Fields at quarterback, depending on who's healthy. Running back, Kyron Chase Brown. Wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, Travis Hunter. One flex spot is Tony Pollard. The other flex spot has Trey Tucker. And then we have Dalton Schultz at tight end. There's not a single team we can go up against in your league where you're not going to be a massive underdog. So here's what we're going to do. I just got to pull up the rankings page. Look at some wide receivers that maybe you could go through, and maybe you could look at trying to sell some injured options for to get points in the lineup right now and see what kind of range we would do this with. So looking at what we have with CeeDee Lamb, I have CeeDee Lamb ranked 9th. Going forward, if you could sell Lamb for Nico, JSN, Jefferson, Chase, Neighbors, St. Brown, it'd be an absolute no-brainer. You wouldn't think twice. If all those teams reject, then we'll move down to our next call, which our next call would be, can we sell CeeDee Lamb for Drake London? Could we sell CeeDee Lamb for A.J. Brown? Could we sell CeeDee Lamb for Rome Odunze? If all those teams reject, I'm sorry, my guy, but you're to the point where you're so screwed. You need to move over to Ted McMillan. You need to move over to Vontae Adams. You need to move over to George Pickens. You need to try to sell one of the wide receivers. I'm sorry. You need to try to sell CeeDee Lamb for one of those options. Now, going over and looking at what we have with Mike Evans. Mike Evans, we have ranked at wide receiver 31 rest of season with the injury. I would first try to sell him for the tier of wide receivers in C or D. If you could sell him for Tet, Pickens, Adams, Wilson, Sutton, Egbuka, Brian Thomas, Tyreek, Ladd McConkey, it would be an absolute no-brainer. But if they all reject you, you're selling Mike Evans for one of Flowers, Myers, Pearsall, Debo. Because let's go through the hypothetical. You sell Lamb for London. You sell Mike Evans for Ladd McConkey. Hypothetically. Then you have Kyron at running back 1, Chase Brown at RB2, London wide receiver 1, Ladd McConkey wide receiver 2, Pollard in 1 flex, and then maybe Trey Tucker in the other flex. You're still in it. You maybe need to get lucky, but you're still in it. I would also probably swing for the fences and cut some of these wide receivers at the bottom, like Torrey Horton, Kayshon Boutte. Pick up Brian Robinson and Ray Davis and hope that we luck ourselves into a handcuffed running back turning into a starter. But I think that's all I got for you. I really appreciate you, my friend. Let me send you over some free questions. I'm sorry that your team's been decimated, but obviously not much you can do on that front, other than just getting some points in this lineup right now and sell the future value to somebody who can look forward to the future, where we just simply can't. Now, Connor says, follow the draft sheets to a T. Concerned about running back. Any help is appreciated. Well, my friend, you are in a really, really good spot. We are number one in the league analyzer by a mile in value. We're 2-1 as well. So we can afford to think about long-term value. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So having an elite quarterback, having an elite tight end is going to make up a pretty big difference. Looking at what we have right now at quarterback, we are rolling currently with Drake May and Justin Fields. Not great, Chief. You're effectively just going to be playing the matchups here at quarterback. It is going to be up to you. Going over and looking at tight end, we have the elite name with Trey McBride. Love to see it. Wide receivers, you only start 2 receivers in a flex. So the depth's not going to matter much, right? Looking at what we have when it comes to the top end, we have Puka Nacua, JSN that we can start every single week. We have Cortland Sutton as a viable flex. And we have Godwin and Rashee Rice in the long term as well. So wide receiver is incredible. I would say there's no way in hell Rashad Bateman ever hits your starting lineup. So I would cut Bateman. I would pick up Rachaad White. And I would hope that if Rachaad White sees a Bucky Irving injury, he turns into a league-winning running back for us. Very similar to us having Jordan Mason and then Aaron Jones going down. So cut Bateman, pick up Rachaad White. And then long term, we're going to want to trade for a running back. Short term, I don't necessarily know if we can. Just because if we are looking at what we have in the short term here, like you have no Rice, Godwin's not viable. We have no Ayuk. Stephon Diggs isn't viable. So you are going to have to wait a little bit of time. But once Rice comes back, Godwin's probably going to be full go at that point as well. If you wanted to take JSN and send JSN for an elite level RB, let's go for it. Or honestly, maybe at that point, Ashton Jeanty and RJ Harvey are cruising. Where if that is happening, then instead, maybe you could go through and maybe you could send a receiver for an elite QB. But I'm not really wanting to make any trades until we're going to get the combination of Rice and Godwin back in. But once that does happen, obviously you'll have a lot of flexibility where you can make a move like that. But I really appreciate you. Congrats on having such a strong team, my guy. Like to be 2-1 and to have drafted Rice and Godwin, you're in a really good spot. Okay. Let's move this over to our next question. It's going to be Pandemonious. So I won 2 leagues last year, but this is my worst start ever. Need a win this week. How do you set the lineup? And can I afford an upgrade anywhere? Thanks for all you do. Thank you so much, my guy, for supporting the channel. I'm going to be excited to check this out. So it's a 10-team league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. We are 3rd in the league analyzer with value. However, we are 0-3. We are 7th in the league in total points. So maybe we're kind of an unlucky 0-3, to be honest. But it doesn't change the fact that we need to transition some of the long-term value into short-term points. We have Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams at quarterback. I would try to send Jaden Daniels for Jalen Hurts if we can. Maybe the Jalen Hurts team would rather have Daniels, but we would clearly rather have Hurts since we need points in our starting lineup right now. Looking at what we have at running back, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Judkins, Scat. So we have plenty of starters at RB. Wide receiver, we can start London and Cortland Sutton. We have Deebo Samuel as a quality play as well with the Terry McLaurin injury. We have Chris Godwin in the long term, Devonta Smith. So we have plenty of depth. Here's the first thing that I do is I try to sell some of the skill positional depth and get an upgrade at tight end. Like obviously Hunter Henry's been killing it, but could you send Scat to a team that needs a running back? Like what are the bad teams at running back doing? This team is like Ginty, RB1, Pollard, Jalen Warren. Maybe there's a chance that they want an upgrade. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they have it in the cards to give us a tight end. Like we don't really care about Laporta. It's not like that's a big difference from Hunter Henry. So we would probably try to go through and see if we could sell like Scat and Godwin to get to Devontae Adams. Just get that immediate upgrade there in the side of the starting lineup. Maybe if you could send like Chase Brown and Godwin to get to Malik Neighbors if somehow they're crazy enough to do that. Here, this other team just has Trey Benson. So the issue is it's going to be hard to find too many teams that actually need help with running back depth because it's a 10-teamer. Like this team is Chuba at RB3. So really this Alabama team is maybe one of the only teams that could use that additional running back starter. I guess this team here with Barkley needs some help beyond Barkley. They have Bowers as well. If there's a world in which you can send like Chase Brown, Hunter Henry, and like Godwin in a 3-for-1 deal to get Brock Bowers, especially knowing that they have Tucker Kraft, I would love that. And they actually really need depth at the skill positions because they don't have Rashee Rice either. So I would try sending them like Chase Brown, Godwin, Hunter Henry for Bowers. As again, realistically, if we could sell Godwin and get an upgrade anywhere, where Godwin may be coming back this week, but again, we're not particularly expecting Godwin to crush immediately. If we can get that improvement inside the starting lineup, I would like it. And is there anything else that we could say with this? Not particularly. Try to sell Godwin, get value right now. You can afford to sell a running back depth piece. And the main thing is you are trying to get an upgrade inside the starting lineup. I would also try to flip Daniels for Jalen Hurts just so we can have some points now and not have to worry about the injury, even if it maybe hurts us a little bit in the long term. Again, I don't particularly care about the long term on a team like yours. I just care about going through and getting the points in the short term. But I really appreciate you and really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. Let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything that you want to follow up with this. And it looks like we hit 700 likes on the stream. So let's go ahead and let's send out some free questions in the chat as well. All you got to do to get those free questions again will be to go ahead, drop a like on this live stream, be subscribed to the channel, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. And yes, you can see that paid questions are turned off. We are backed up on questions at the moment. So the only way to send in like a start sit or a trade question will be if you have a free question voucher, which you can get those free question vouchers if you sign up to be an annual Mother Flocker with code FLOCK, sign up for the season pass with code FLOCK, or you just win them in the free chat, which again, we're sending out a ton of free questions every single day on this live stream. I'm not going to miss a single day of streaming until Christmas. I mean, you can just see that the majority of the questions that we answer here are the free ones. But let me find one of y'all on the site real quick to send that free question over to. It's completely free to have the account on the site again. Let's send this over to Say It Again. Just found you, my friend. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream and just sent you over that free start sit question. Again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my guy. But let's check this one out for Cam Costa. Says 1-2 so far with the best team according to the site. Have a lot of running back depth right now and trying to have trade conversations to get either a top 5 receiver, a possible playable tight end, or an upgraded RB2. So it's a league in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly, right? So the wide receiver depth does matter in your format in particular. We are first in the league when it comes to value. We are about middle of the road when it comes to points scored. We're slightly above average. So looking at what we have with the 1-2 record, okay, here's the thing, man. You don't need an upgraded running back too. You got 5 running backs. Our running back room's ranked second in the league analyzer. If we're looking at what we have when it comes to startable receivers and running backs, Bijan, Chase Brown, Judkins, Benson, Scat, they're all startable. 5 RBs. Looking at what we have with wide receivers, AJ, Rome, Tet, Rice, Metcalf are all startable. 5 wide receivers. So while you can start up to 6 running backs and receivers here weekly, we have 10 of them. You just came across the league winning option with Cam Scat, with Trey Benson. So this is going to open you up to be able to go through and to be able to send a trade and go get an elite onesie. Like, I'm not feeling the need to trade for another running back. I'm not feeling the need to trade for a better receiver. What I want to do is I want to find a team that needs a running back and go get a better QB. Go get a better tight end. So let's go through and let's look at the teams that are worst in your league at running back. This team is RJ Harvey and Rachaad White. Do they want to have any hopes to win this year? If this team is willing to open up the app and check this, I know they're 0-3. Can we offer them something for Jaden Daniels? Can we try to send Cam Scat and Baker Mayfield for Daniels? If that means they don't have to start freaking RJ Harvey and Rachaad White, probably makes sense for them, especially with Jaden Daniels banged up and the fact that they are 0-3, need points in this lineup right now. Now, going over and looking at this team, they have Kamara, Zach Charbonnet, Brian Robinson. They don't have an elite quarterback. They don't have an elite tight end. They have Puka, though. Could we try sending them Trey Benson? Try sending them Cam Scat? And go get an upgrade to an elite receiver? Can we send them Cam Scat and A.J. Brown for Puka? Trey Benson and Rome for Amon-Ra St. Brown? Put them in a spot where they're not needing to start Zach Charbonnet? This team has no running back 3. They have Trey McBride. Can we offer them Chase Brown and Cade Otton? Can we offer them hell? They could use additional depth at wide receiver as well. Can we try to send them Chase Brown, Metcalf, and Cade Otton for Trey McBride? Fill out their depth at the skill positions and give us that elite tight ends. This team's okay with running back depth. This team's okay with running back depth. This team is as well. That team is... This team is like Aaron Jones, their RB3. They have Josh Allen. Is there any world in which we can get to Allen by selling a couple of our running backs? Sending them Chase Brown, Cam Scat, and Baker Mayfield for Josh Allen? Because again, especially because you have the ability to sell multiple running backs, since we could go ahead and we could throw a wide receiver in the flex spot anyway. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. Again, great team, but go get a better onesie. Like, that's the move to make on your team where you're that strong. Now, let's move over and let's answer some of the quick questions real quick. Let's get to the start sit. Let's get to the trade. Then we'll go back over to the roster reviews. I know we've been spending the past 2 hours on roster reviews, but we just have a bunch that we need to get through. And I'm going to stream all the way until kickoff. So we're going to be streaming a long time answering these questions. But this one is from That Stone Guy. Does not include anything on his site. So I'm going to just go ahead and send you over a free trade question so you can resubmit this. Mr. Big Blunt coming through. This is Kamara and Rome for JSN. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. I think you take JSN if you have enough running back depth. Like if you just hit on Scat and Benson and it's like, oh, I don't really need Kamara. And it's a fine price to go get the elite receiver with JSN. Okay. Now our next question's from Mr. Filthy Wubbs, trading Kyron and Jefferson for CMC and Johnston. The big Q really doesn't matter in this type of trade. Wide receiver, we'd have Egbuka, Metcalf, Quentin Johnston. Running back, we'd have CMC and Bucky. I'd probably go with the CMC side just because he's the #1 asset in fantasy football at the moment. But it is a league where you got to start 9 players. So the depth does matter a decent amount here. Now, Kittle Kid says, I'm 0-3 and I need a win this week. Quarterback, I'm going to go May over Baker with Evans out and a really tough matchup for Mayfield. We're going to go Scat with the guaranteed volume in the flex. We're going to go Ricky Pearsall as well. And then for tight end, I think Jawan Johnson versus Kincaid, they're back-to-back in my rankings. I think Kincaid's more likely to score the touchdown. Jawan Johnson's more likely to just get you volume. So it is up to you with the tight ends there. Now, our next question is going to be from Hyperbot. It says 1-2, but going to 1-3. It's way too early to know that. Looking at my roster, should we do this? Caleb, we have quarterback, running back CMC. I'm sorry, we have Barkley, JCM, Harvey, Sharp. So we need running back depth. Wide receiver, we have Tay, Debo, Higgins, Hunter, and we have Brock at tight end. So Hunter Henry's meaningless for us. You can't do this. I like the sentiment. I agree. You kind of need help here at running back. And Caleb is startable at QB. But if you're selling Josh Allen in a format like this, well, I see how this could possibly benefit your team. You need more, my friend. You would need more. Okay. Keep Josh Allen. Now, Z Young here at running back. I'm playing Swift over Montgomery. Tough matchup for Montgomery going up against a good rush defense. And I do think Gibbs just gets the majority of it. Okay. Corey Hambone says, my Benson, Mason, Pickens for Lamb and Marv. Let's see. Quarterback, we'd be starting Baker and maybe Love. Running back, Bucky. Wide receiver, Pickens, Egbuka. Tight end, Kraft. Flex, Jordan Mason. So you can go out there. You can make a trade for CeeDee Lamb. You can afford it. You have a great team. Now, Luke and Braun. Here, I'm going to start Chase Brown over Xavier Worthy, essentially. Aggressive Fox trading Gibbs for Genty and Neighbors. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Wide receiver, we have no Terry, no Rice. We're starting A.J. Brown, Tet. Running back, we're starting Gibbs, Benson. And then we have like Hendo in the flex. Or Addison in the flex. In most formats, I would say yes, make this deal. But yours is a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So in my opinion, the depth's not going to matter. And in my opinion, I'd rather just hold on to Gibbs. Now, H. Farmer here at running back. We're going to go Jordan Mason, Trey Benson in 1 flex spot, Chase Brown in the other flex. You just take the 3 running backs that are guaranteed to get volume. Murrow Nation trading Swift and JSN for Gibbs and Ladd. I think you're upgrading from JSN to Gibbs, upgrading from Swift to Ladd. So yes, I'd make this deal. Ted does fantasy trading. We don't know who the possible running back play is. So maybe you just got to move Benson to running back, DJ Moore at the flex. I'd play DJ Moore over Addison and Worthy this week. I really don't want to play Worthy until we actually see him. Joker with our next one. This is Lamb versus Kamara and Igbuka. Here, give me 1 second. I'm going to go pee, and then we'll give away some free questions when we come back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll send out some free questions. Get those free questions. All you got to do is, again, drop a like on the stream, be subscribed to the channel, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. Joker trading Lamb for Kamara and Egbuka. Looking at this, we have right now Hampton and like Hendo in the starting lineup. And the depth matters here. So I think you got to make this move, to be honest. Yeah. With your team, yes. Now, Eli says, made the trade yesterday. We have Igbuka, Nico, Warren, Walker, Bucky, Lamar, Tyler. I'm 2-1. Did we give up too much? Pearsall to Brian Thomas, give me Brian Thomas. Pollard to Benson, give me Benson. You pay Dobbins. If you're 2-1, we can think long-term here. So, nope, I actually like this. I think you made the right move. For sure, to be honest. Okay. Let me go ahead and see if we can find somebody in the chat real quick to send out free questions. Okay, we got Bryce Lom. I freaking clicked your name yesterday too. I just realized. But I'm not going to punish you for hanging out in the stream too much. So we'll go ahead. We'll send you over a free start set question. Appreciate you hanging out with us, my guy. And Jacobs limited Thursday. Ugh, you got to be freaking kidding me. If Jacobs misses, I'm going to be pissed. Let me see. I don't see anything with Josh Jacobs here. Yeah, I don't see anybody freaking out about Josh Jacobs. So. Just stays limited in practice. So he was limited with the ankle on Wednesday as well. So, okay, we're fine. Thought he was downgraded to limited. Now, Foppy Ock trading a future first, second for Bucky and trading Hubbard and Franklin for Smith. I would do it. If you're a contender, go for it. Now, Bezo Manyad, apologize for mispronouncing this. If both Purdy and Fields play, I'll probably go Fields. Running back, give me Mason. Wide receiver, give me the combo of Igbuka and Tet. Actually, no, I think we may go Adams instead over Tet. Really bad implied team total that we have for Tet. And the flex, Scat gives you guaranteed. No, we'll just go with Devontae Adams. Play both the wide receivers there. Full PBR format. Now, Quinn Taylor says, I'm 0-3 and need some help. Who do we start here that's going to get me a win? Also, we traded Evans for Brian Thomas Jr. I like that trade. Give me Bo Nix against Cincy at quarterback. Tight end, give me Jawan Johnson over Hawkinson with the volume. And then for the flex, we'll just take the guaranteed opportunities with Javonte Williams. Obviously, not super exciting given how bad the matchup is against the Packers, though. Now, Creamy Baby, here for the flex spot. Give me Deebo Samuel, no Terry McLaurin, and then give me the guaranteed opportunities with Genty. That Raiders-Bears game should be pretty high scoring. Real Superman, quarterback, give me Jaden Daniels over Geno Smith, assuming he plays. Running back, give me Javonte. And then for the flex, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take London over Olave. Tyler, here at running back, give me the combo Jordan Mason and Trey Benson. And then if you had a flex that you needed, you'd probably go ahead and you'd play Trey Benson over Ladd McConkey. Now, Tyler, quarterback between May and Dak, give me May very easily. Running back, Javonte over Judkins and a full PP, or the SAP PPR. I still do that. And then we're just going to go ahead. We're going to play Judkins over Worthy in the flex spot. Now, Jay Garza is trading Jordan Mason and Marr for Igbuka. How strong are you at running back? Montgomery's our RB3. Wide receiver would be starting Igbuka, Olave, and then like Hunter in the flex. Here's my thing, man. I guess you have Montgomery in the flex. You can do this. But I think Jordan Mason's better here as a flex play in the short term. I think you may be losing this deal in the short term. And then the long term, while Aaron Jones may come back in, so will Godwin and Evans. So it is going to be up to you there. Now, no chills. Wide receiver, Hunter, Shaheed. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. The Saints project to be the worst offense in the league this week. Olave is getting a ton of volume. Jawan Johnson's getting a lot of volume. And I don't know what the big play upside is in the worst offense in the NFL. Okay. Now, next question is going to be from Bitter Hornet. Appreciate you, my guy. Says, need a running back 2. Taking a chance on RJRV's future versus Tootin. We have CMC. Oh, yeah, for sure take RJRV here. Here's my thing. If you're looking at what you have with Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, JCM may not be viable anymore. If he's injured, he needs time to go out there and get ramped up. I think RJRV is the better player out of that list too. And obviously you have the injury history with Dobbins. Now, bootlegger. Here for the running back spot, give me Brees over Benson. Wide receiver, give me London. And then in the flex, we will take Egbuka over A.J. Brown with all the injuries in Tampa. Okay. But let me go ahead, refresh this. One thing that the devs added to flockfantasy.com that y'all can't see at the moment, but I can, which is amazing, is I can see how many questions I'm behind, so I know when to turn them off. Or when I need to do reviews versus when I need to do the quick ones. And we can do the quick ones here. And we can keep them on. We're not that far behind. Okay. Now, Bitter Hornet trading JCM and A.O. Manor for Dobbins. I'm not really valuing JCM as much right now. So, if you want to go get Dobbins, go for it. Now, BRWDIS trading Chase Brown for Benson in a third. I think you can be okay saying you want Benson at this point in Dynasty. I'm not going to fault you for it. Neither running back's guaranteed to be anything in the long term. Now, Donnie T here for the flex. I would play Sutton over Kenneth Walker in a full PPR format. Maybe here's what I'm actually going to do. Put Sutton in over Brian Thomas, then you can play Kenneth Walker in the flex. But I'd put him in over Amari and Hampton, actually. Here's what we're going to do. But Kenneth Walker at running back, put Hampton down in the flex just because Kenneth Walker plays tonight. You don't want your Thursday night options in your flex spot in case something happens. Now, Dookie Shoes trading Bowers and Keenan for Kraft and McMillan. Bowers to McMillan downgrade, Keenan to Kraft upgrade. I think it's a fair deal. It's going to be up to you. I'll say in general, I really don't want to be selling Bowers right now, though, with the Mayer injury and with Bowers getting in the full practices. I think Bowers is a lot closer to being 100%. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next one. This is Ida Junk. We're looking at Judkins versus London in a PPR format. Please give me London. B-Dog Mac Attack. Here at running back. Give me Benson and Genty over Pollard. Wide receiver, we have no Evans, so we're going to go Pearsall. And then in the flex, give me the running back with the guaranteed volume of Tony Pollard. Ryan Miller, here at quarterback, we're going to go Daniels over May if he plays. And then in the flex, Jordan Mason with no Aaron Jones is an auto start. Eli Davis says, losing a good tight end, but need running back help. What are your thoughts? JSN to Neighbors, lateral move up to you. Nico to Bucky, clear upgrade. Tyler Warren at tight ends. My main thought is you're probably losing value, but at the same time, if we are looking at this, your running back room right now consists of you starting Braylon Allen and Zach Charbonnet. So if that's going to be the case, like, I don't know if you have an option, but to go through and to get Bucky Irving. Like, you're losing this value trade-wise. But if it makes it where we don't have to start freaking Charbonnet and Kenneth Gainwell, then yeah, I think you can go for it. But Dear God. Actually, I'm going to tell you, look for a different deal. It's a 14-team format, so you're also giving up the additional flex play when it's very difficult to be selling the additional flex in a 14-teamer. Now, Hypnotic coming through. Running back, give me Benson. And then for the flex, yeah, we're going to leave this as is. Now, Booze here, running back. Benson versus Javonte and Scat. Give me Benson. Javonte, tough matchup. It's not a super easy call when it comes to what we're looking at with Scat versus Javonte versus Swift. Scat, really tough matchup against the Chargers. Javonte, we've seen the large track record of Javonte at this point, especially with his role as a receiver. We haven't seen what the checkdown rate's going to be with Jackson Dart, so I'm going to go Javonte Williams here in the other flex. Now, Kerr winning here right now for the flex. Our best option on the bench is Zay Flowers or Garrett Wilson. Full BBR format, you want to play Wilson over Pollard? Not going to fault you for it, but Pollard obviously gives you the guaranteed opportunities. The thing that's scary about Pollard is right now the Titans project to be the worst offense in the NFL this week against the Texans, which I would tend to say that the projections are probably going to be pretty accurate on that one. Maybe not accurate to the point that they'll be legit the worst, but pretty damn close to it. Okay, now, Nobe. Here, running back. Benson versus Scat. Give me Benson. Not that hard. Sam Wow. Rome Pollard versus Nico Collins. Give me Nico Collins pretty easily. Caleb trading Walker, Benson, Garrett Wilson for CMC. CMC in a run. Levis home. Or Lev is home. Something like that. Quarterback, Goff versus Love's going to be tough. Love's in a great matchup. They just don't really have the weapons for him to throw. He hasn't had 20 completions in a game. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Jared Goff. And then going over and looking at what we have for the flex, I would play Jordan Addison over Travis Hunter at this point and Josh Downs. Now, Zong Sadfish says, should we get Geno at quarterback this week over Love? No, Love has too good of a matchup. And then here in the flex, we're probably going to go Addison over A.O. Manor. Now, Chubby's Kyler versus Love. Give me Kyler given the rushing upside. Wide receiver, Jacobs in a perfect matchup. I'm sorry, running back. Wide receiver, going to go Sutton and Tyreek. For the tight end, we're going to go Juwan Johnson over Kelsey. And then for the flex, I'm an idiot, but I'm going to take Ashton Genty in a game in which there's a super high over-under. But looks like I need to sign in and sign back out so I can keep answering these questions for y'all. So give me 1 second. Okay. And as I do this, I want to stall by reminding y'all, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am live streaming, answering fantasy football questions every single day. I will be live streaming every day until Christmas answering questions. You can tell the vast majority of the questions that we answer on the live streams are the free ones. And all you got to do to get those free questions, again, will be hang out with us in the stream. Every 100 likes, we send out free questions. And we're streaming for 4 or 5 hours every day. We'll go Genty here in the flex, like we said. Now, Legal Swordfish. Benson versus Rishi. Yeah, Chief. If you have a winning record, I think you go Rashee Rice. Like, based off how the weapons look right now in KC, I think it's almost a safe assumption that if, like, I don't even say if. I mean, he is going to be 100% when he comes back. When Rice comes back week 7, the dude's a wide receiver 1 in my rankings that week. Like, unlike Godwin coming back from this injury where I have like some hesitation, I'm saying like, hey, don't go nuts ranking him his first week back in. Like, no, Rashee Rice is going to be a wide receiver 1 immediately. We've seen it. Now, obviously, you have to wait another 3 weeks. So I'd probably tell you that it makes a lot of sense if you're 3-0, 2-1, but obviously if you're 0-3, you need Trey Benson, you need points in your lineup right now. Now our next one's going to be Grand Automos. Here for the flex between Zay Flowers and Kamara. I think we go ahead and I think we take Kamara. Now, LF Smoke. Running back Jordan Mason is an auto start with no Aaron Jones. I'll go Marv over Addison and Hunter, and then in the flex, we'll take the other running back with DeAndre Swift, the guaranteed opportunities. MX trading Benson and Igbuka for CeeDee Lamb. Leftover, you would have Barkley, Henry in your lineup, wide receiver, Rome, Harrison in the flex, Judkins. So if you have a winning team, you can do this because you have a juggernaut. But if you're 1-2, if you're 0-3, obviously we have no business trading for Lamb. Isaac says, I'm 3-0, holding on to Lamb. Still want a top wide receiver in my lineup to help with depth. Oh, hell yes, if you can make this deal, do it. Joe Mixon's almost a 0. I see Joe Mixon on some waiver wires. Travis Hunter's almost a 0. I've seen him out there on a few waiver wires. If you can sell Tyreek, Hunter, and Mixon for Jamar Chase, go for it. Ray the Bay, here at running back. Judkins, easy play over Hendo this week. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown, and probably Devonta Smith are hitting my lineup. And then in the flex, I'm a madman, so I'd play Trevion Henderson over Godwin and hope that the Ramondre fumbles mean that Ramondre's about to get benched. That'd be my hope. Now, redemption with our next one. Here at wide receiver, Devonta Smith over Hunter and Godwin for me. And then at running back, at the flex, we'll go over to running back. We'll play Chase Brown. Chase Brown's averaging 20 opportunities a game. He's not doing anything with them, but man can hope that changes. Versace Drapes trading Judkins for Hendo and Debo. Like, while I'd obviously rather have Judkins over Hendo right now, give me Hendo in the long term. Larger receiving role and a better offense. So, yeah, I'm going to take Henderson and Debo Samuel in this trade easily. Now, Oslot says, I have a Superflex league also. Trying to tier up with no luck. Good players not producing. Thanks, man. Thank you. So the Superflex spot, we're almost certainly throwing Geno in there. And yeah, and you play Ashton Genty here in the flex. And you play Geno over all these skill positional guys. Well, I understand that Genty's been worse than a lot of the guys that you're looking at here instead. Like, the realistic setup that you have with this game against the Bears is we should assume that there are a tremendous amount of points scored. Like, right now, the over-under this game is one of the highest over-unders of any game this week. So I'd be happy to go through, and I'd be happy to take Genty. Now, let's go over to our next question. This is highly flavored. This is Kenneth Walker, Rome Odunze versus Samari Hampton and CeeDee Lamb. Rome versus Lamb, give me Lamb. Walker versus Hampton, give me Hampton. Yeah, so I think you're upgrading 2 spots here. As long as you can afford it, obviously you're having to go a little bit more long-term focused with CeeDee Lamb. But if you can afford it, let's go for it. Okay. Now, marked DJ trading Rice for Hendo and Golden. Running back, we have Bijan and Benson. Wide receiver, JSN and Judy. So Hendo would actually hit our flex. If you're 0-3, like, I understand you doing this. If you're 1-2, I understand you doing this. Now, if you have a winning record, I don't think you need to go out there and make a trade like this to hurt her long-term upside to get points in the lineup right now, but I think this does help you get points in the lineup right away. Now, Baines trading Kamara and Golden for Genty. I would do this if you think that Ashton Genty is a different tier than Kamara. Like, if you still believe, obviously this offensive line's looked horrendous. Like, one of my favorite stats at the moment is Ashton Genty has more yards after contact than he has total yards this season, which is just unbelievable. But if you still believe, I think you go for it. Now, Ryland here with our next one. We have no Rice, we have no Evans, so you got to play Pearsall over Cup. But actually, you're probably going to play both guys. Play Cup at wide receiver, Pearsall in the flex. Like, it looks like Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt's probably not playing this week. And no way in hell I'm telling you to play Kareem Hunt over Cooper Kupp. So I think you probably leave this as is. Okay. Now, Caffeine trading Jordan Mason and Jefferson for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Leftover at running back, you'd be starting Bucky, Benson. You have the long-term upside shots. I think you can afford to do this. Don't get me wrong. I think you lose this trade in the short term, but in the long term, if Aaron Jones comes in, turns it a little bit more into a running back by committee, where we can't say that all of a sudden, like, Jordan Mason is an auto start the way that he is now. Then you can go for it. But I would say value-wise, you should be able to get more value for Jordan Mason. So I'm going to go with the Mason and Jefferson side. If I'm trading Mason and Jefferson, I would like to see if we could get to, like, Puka. But it looks like we just hit 900 likes on the stream. So let's go ahead and let's give out some more free questions. And again, all we got to do to give out those free questions is drop a like on the live stream and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. Now, Daniel trading Nico and Montgomery for Rome, Judkins, Herbert. Montgomery to Judkins upgrade, Nico to Rome, clear downgrade. You pick up Herbert. How bad do you need a quarterback? We have Daniel Jones. Honestly, I'd rather keep the best player here. I'd rather keep Nico Collins. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I still don't view Herbert inside the same tier of the elite quarterbacks that are going to run the ball. Now, Starvin Barvin trading Genty for Scat and Worthy. Give me Genty here, not close. Baby Sasuke. Here in the flex, we currently have A.O. Manor. I would take him out. I would put in Metcalf. I know that A.O. Manor is trending towards being a play over DK Metcalf, which is just brutal. But like, I don't know what you'd want from me. Like, we've seen Metcalf for a large stretch where A.O. Manners look good, and it's the league's worst offense. Legit, the league's worst offense. Now let's send this out. We got Brad Booty. Let me see if I can find you on the site, my friend. And if so, we'll send you over that free start set question. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. Just sent you over that free start set question. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And chat, let me know when we hit 1,000 likes on the stream. We'll go ahead and we'll send out some more free questions. Now, CG Val is trading Achan and Jettas for Judkins, Hampton, AJ Brown. HN to HN down. I'm sorry, HN to Hampton downgrade. Jettas to AJ Brown downgrade. You're picking up Judkins. I don't want to be downgrading 2 spots here. I'd keep HN and Jefferson, even if I love Hampton. Now, the next one is going to be AJK. Wide receiver, looking at more Aoman or Pearsall. I'm going to go Pearsall. Tight end, give me Ertz. And then the flex, I will take DJ Moore over Aoman. Again, the Bears offense supposed to be significantly better this week. Where if you're looking at what we have with Aoman, just simply the volumes. I mean, the points in the offense won't be there. Probably team total like 15.5 points. I don't know how you could get them in your lineup. The only Tennessee Titan that's worth starting is going to be Tony Pollard. That's it. Now, Al 6522 here for the flex. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Jalen Waddle. Surprisingly high total on the Dolphins-Jets game. Hendo isn't trustworthy yet. Worthy's not trustworthy yet. At least we know Waddle's going to be out there for 90% of the routes. Now, Slush Monkey with our next one. Here for the flex, it's Pittman, Smith, Higgins. No, you got Benson. You play Benson. No brainer. I mean, realistically, I'd probably move Benson to running back, move a running back down to the flex just in case something happens. Now, negative brochure trading Benson, Sutton for Harvey and Lamb. If you're 3-0, you can make this move, but you are selling all the short-term production for all the long-term upside. Like, you are in a you must be a strong-ass team if you can trade away 2 solid starters and get back just 2 long-term pieces like that. Tom 99 trading Hampton, Lamb for Bucky, Olave, Waddle. Upgrading at running back, massive downgrade. I would do this if I was 0-3. Or I would do this if I was 1-2 and it looked like without this trade, I would lose this week. But if you're 3-0, I think you ride it out with Lamb because I love Hampton at this point. Now, Wilkie is trading Chase Brown, Hendo, Lamb for Pollard, Jacobs, London. Lamb to Jacobs upgrade. Chase Brown to London upgrade. Hendo to Pollard downgrade. But I think we make this deal. I would go get Jacobs and London. Let's refresh this. CD Steele trading Rome for Jamar Chase. Give me Jamar Chase and run. Griffin, quarterback. Give me Caleb over Kyler. Running back, Chase Brown over Judkins and a full PPR. And then in the flex, probably Brian Thomas. Now, Jones sides, quarterback, Fields over Kyler. I know Kyler plays tonight. We don't know about Fields. You got to play Fields. You can't roll the dice. You got to play Kyler. You can't roll the dice on Fields. Speedy Inese. Here, I'm going to go Genty over Benson and Pollard, and then in the flex, we will take Benson. So, realistically, actually, go ahead, put Benson at running back, Genty in the flex spot, just in case something happens, you need to make a swap. Since you have the Thursday night game tonight, you'd have if you're playing Benson here, anybody watching this, if you're playing Trey Benson, if you're playing Marvin Harrison, if you're making that commitment tonight to play them, do not put them at your flex. Put them at wide receiver 1, running back 1, running back 2, whatever it is. Put them at your actual positional spot and move whoever you have at running back or wide receiver into your flex spot, just in case you have a surprise injury, you have more flexibility later in the week. Now, Onyx says, thanks for all your help. Thank you, my friend. Here, running back Jordan Mason auto starts. Wide receiver, Rome, London will be the easy plays. And then in the flex, we're going to go Hampton and then A.J. Brown. Great team. Now, next question is going to be out from Inbu. And for whatever reason, we got to sign out again. Dear God. I felt like we just did this. How long have we been live? Only about 2.5 hours. So we got another 2.5 hours-ish to go. We will make sure that we answer all the start sit questions, all the trade questions that are submitted before the game tonight. Any roster reviews submitted, maybe that gets pushed until tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming until kickoff. We have it where nobody can buy any start sit or trade questions. You need a free voucher to submit one. So you either got to get a free voucher by winning it in the live stream or obviously getting a season pass or becoming an annual mother flocker with code flock. But Inbu, like we said, we're going to go with the combo of Hendo and Worthy if Worthy plays, Godwin if he doesn't. Now, Jay Wazell coming through. For the flex, give me Ashton Genty. Only if Achan versus Brees and Brian Thomas. I'll take Achan. Looks like it's an 8-team league. Texas Cornbread here at wide receiver. I'm going to go Waddle over banged up Jennings and Higgins with no Burrow. And then the flex is you just take the running backs with guaranteed volume. You take Hampton and Benson. Heaven here at quarterback. Give me Daniels over Herbert if he plays. Running back Chase Brown over Judkins in a full PPR. Wide receiver A.J. Brown, tight end Kraft. And then in the flex, we'll take the guaranteed volume of Judkins. Corrupt roundabout here at running back. Give me Judkins over Tootin. Tight end Ferg over Pitts. And the flex, Smith Waddle's going to be tough. It does look like the Bucs are going to have a hard time putting points up on the board against Philly, which is relevant. I think you probably go Devonta Smith. I like him more. I like quarterback play more. But if Tampa can't put points on the board, then obviously Philly's just going to run the ball consistently. Now, Kegar, 2-1. Team is Gibbs, Chase Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., Pickens, Zay, Higgins. On the bench, we have Waddle, Jawan, Sharp. Any up with trades, please? Appreciate you, my friend. 2-1. We can afford to wait long-term for Lamb. On the bench, you have Waddle. So honestly, Waddle, Higgins are about equivalent. So I think you have enough flexibility here where you can afford to wait for the long term. If you were 1-2, I probably wouldn't want to do this because Pickens gives you such an advantage over the next month. But 2-1, I'm fine if you wanted to take this. Okay. Let's move this over. And Adam, if you keep copying and pasting, you're going to get muted. Let's move this to Evans Printed Money. It's trading London for Hampton. I have them ranked back-to-back. Right now, Hendo's our running back too. So yeah, you need a running back. Let's go get Hampton. Stefanos here for the flex. Jordan Mason, auto start. Kyron Williams is interesting, but Jordan Mason's workload is just insane with no Aaron Jones. Fantasy is rigged. Go Tyreek Hill over Marvin Golden. And then in the flex, you take Scat over Marv for the guaranteed volume. Marv has a high ceiling. Like, he could go off tonight. But it could also give you 4 fantasy points. Now, Rich Pedro says, max wide receivers in the roster, not strong, though. Need some running back wide receiver help. So if you have like a ton of wide receiver depth, I would go ahead and, yeah, I think you can make this 2-for-1 deal where you can just go ahead and you can get Alvin Kamara here. Take Kamara and run it. Now, Def G, here we have Benson, Judkins, Marv as the options. I'm very easily just going to go ahead and I'm going to take Trey Benson. Keg again says 2-1 wide receivers, Brian Thomas Jr., Pickens, Higgins, Zay, Waddle. I would probably still rather have Pickens over Rashee Rice. Maybe if you were 3-0, I would look at doing this, but I like that Lamb offer that you had sent previously. I like that more than this one. Now, T. Middleton, here at running back, Scat, Benson, Kamara. Wide receiver, Egbuka is the easy play with Rome in the flex. I think I probably go Kamara at running back and just see what happens. We've seen such a large sample with Kamara that it may not hurt to just get I don't know, 1 week of data in on Scat and Benson before we go through and we start him over Kamara. Now let's move this over to our next one. This is Bill to the Moon. Here for the flex, it's JCM or Matthew Golden essentially. I'm definitely not playing JCM with him banged up and with him already not having a massive role. Like, there's no way I'd want to play JCM here. I think it's very easily you're playing Matthew Golden. It's a really good matchup against Dallas. Obviously, Matthew Golden hasn't had a great workload so far. But you're really just hunting for the big play, and the big play upside is there against the Cowboys. Now, San GC here at running back between Chase Brown and Judkins. Full PPR format, I would play Chase Brown. Wide receiver, give me Pickens and Sutton in the flex. Both wide receivers in a full PPR format are auto starts. Sutton, great matchup. Pickens, tough matchup, but you do have the volume, of course, with no Lamb. Now, Hoodie Mo coming through. Quarterback, Daniel Jones versus Jaden Daniels. Give me Jaden Daniels. Running back, Bucky and Hampton. Wide receiver, we're going to take Worthy if he plays, Golden if he doesn't. Tight end, Ferg. And then for the flex, Benson. But move Benson to running back and swap over one of the running backs that we currently have to a flex spot. Okay. Now, next question here is going to be from Brosif. Brian Thomas versus Genty and Xavier Worthy. I would rather have Genty straight up over Brian Thomas. So, yeah. Go ahead and take Genty here easily. Now, Love Hurts trading St. Brown for Jefferson and Bowers. Tight end, we have Kittle. So the value, you have to make this move. But I would immediately try to flip Kittle if you do it. As obviously, Kittle's not going to be doing much here for us if we have Bowers. Now, Dylan is our next question. Quarterback, Herbert versus Caleb. Tough spot. I'm going to go with Herbert, but obviously Caleb does give you more rushing upside. And then here for the flex, we take the guaranteed volume of Judkins over Jordan Addison. Really not super interested in playing Addison this week, to be honest. Zach Attack trading Hendo, Olave, Pearsall for Jacobs and Pollard. Olave to Pollard, up to you. Hendo and Pearsall versus Jacobs. 10 team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. I think we go ahead and we take Josh Jacobs. Now, Neesmith trading Barkley for Benson, Etienne, and DJ. I would way rather have Barkley here. Like, this is 3/4 versus $1. 3/4 versus $1. Give me the $1. Now, next question's coming out from Matt Baggs, trading Scat, Jordan Mason, Lamb for Hendo, Hampton, Lamb. I'm sorry, Keenan. Scat versus Hendo, up to you. Lamb versus Hampton, up to you. Jordan Mason versus Keenan, give me Mason. I'd probably prefer the Jordan Mason side of this. The only way that you don't do it is if you are like 0-3 and you're like, hey, I really can't wait on CeeDee Lamb in the long term. I really need to go get Keenan Allen inside our starting lineup right now. Then sure, do that. But even in that instance, like, I don't know how excited we are about it, because you are trading Jordan Mason, who's the piece that we're really excited about right now, for a long-term guy such as the rookie. So let's go ahead and let's check this out for Sammy Stacks. So this is, if y'all don't know, Sammy Stacks is an embarrassment to fantasy football. Like, truly, truly dumpster fire. Worst training camp, worst training staff I've ever seen, right? This guy, he drafted Mike Evans. He drafted James Conner. He drafted George Kittle. Keep in mind, we're in week 4. He's averaging one player a week going down. So I mean, hell, he even lost Justin Fields. Fields versus Love, frankly, it doesn't matter. Like, Love's not going to run the ball. Fields will. Love has a good matchup. Fields doesn't. Achane, Jordan Mason. Obviously, you got to jam them in. Wide receiver, no Evans. I guess you play Debo now that it looks like Terry's missing. Tight end, Hunter Henry. And then here for the flex spots, full PPR, I'm probably going Pearsall and Keenan. But actually, no, you got to go Dobbins. Dobbins is a great matchup against Cincy. So if you wanted to pivot from one of the receivers, now that it looks like Jennings may miss, you probably pivot from Keenan. So you probably go J.K. Dobbins. But, like, I would say, just professional opinion here, if this team had to go up against somebody that had Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, like Cam Scatterbo, Travis Etienne, they're getting wiped. Won't even be remotely close. Now, Bill trading Ridley and Brian Thomas for Hendo and Rashid Rice. We'll take Hendo and Rashid Rice. Unless you have like a garbage record. Or if you have a garbage record, then sure, I understand not being able to take the long-term assets, but I don't know why we would be sending that over if we did have a garbage record. Now, let's see. This one's going to be from Keenster. Let me see. Real quick. Give me a second. How many teams we need? What our current count is on reviews versus starts it and trade. As we may go back to the team reviews real quick. Yeah, we're going to go back to the team reviews. But 0-3 up against the number 1 team. We need high upside. Running back, I'm going to go Kenneth Walker. Wide receiver, give me Chase, Tyreek, if you need upside. And then in the flex, probably Tet. If you're shooting for upside, you play the receivers. Wider range of outcomes. But let me go ahead and let's move this over to some more team reviews. This team review we're gonna skip by the dynasty ones. It's gonna be for Samana. It says, I'm worried about Chase and feel like I have some exciting developing prospects. Who should I start this week? And would you try to trade Chase at this point? Here's the thing, my guy. Realistically speaking, who is trading for Chase? And the deals I've seen involving Jamar Chase, like I would have honestly rather had the Jamar Chase side. I've probably seen 5 Chase trades this week, and every single one I preferred Chase. So realistically speaking, your league mates know exactly how bad this offense looked this past week. If you're wanting to trade Chase, it has to be after a game in which you actually do have the Cincinnati Bengals able to put points on the board. Okay. So let's see what we got. We are big boys. We are third in the league analyzer in value. We are second in the league in points, and we are 3-0 right now. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So realistically speaking, the wide receiver depth doesn't matter that much. Instead, you want to build around the elite quarterback. You want to build around the elite tight end because they make up a very high percentage of our starting lineup output. And here we have Lamar. We have McBride. So absolutely love to see it. And I would say with this as well, unless you're going to get forced to roster 2 quarterbacks, forced to roster 2 tight ends, which obviously we see some leagues like that, I would go ahead. I would drop Geno. I would drop Harold Fannin. And I would probably opt to instead pick up Chris Godwin and Travis Hunter off the waiver wire. And it looks like there are plenty of quarterbacks and tight ends off waivers if we needed. Now, looking at what we have at running back, we have Walker, Brees, Etienne, Judkins, Scat. So we have 5 startable running backs. So, like, if you're in a spot in which you could go through and pivot from Jamar Chase to an elite receiver, like if you could include one of these running backs, they're expendable. So if you wanted to try to send like Jamar Chase and Kenneth Walker to get to Puka Nacua, go for it. Because obviously we have the running back depth to throw in. I'm just not certain that that's the deal that you will be able to make, to be honest. Now, looking at receiver, we have 4 startable wide receivers here as well. So yeah, in general, obviously what we would want to do if we can is 2-for-1 deals, improve inside the starting lineup, sell depth either at receiver or running back. Realistically, I don't think that you are going to be able to sell the depth at wide receiver just because in a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, nobody's going to need help at the wide receiver position. Where you could find somebody needing help is running back, especially if they've had some of those injuries. So, yeah, I would just try to sell Judkins and Adams, Etienne and Chase, Walker and Chase, and go get the best wide receivers that you possibly can. And obviously, we're not selling all these running backs. I think you just look to make 1 or 2 trades. But you have an incredible team. You're 3-0 for a reason. And again, looking at your squad specifically, I mean, I want to be in a situation in which we have the elite quarterback, we have the elite tight end in a format like this. So I actually really like where we're at. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. But let's move this over. This is for KW. Looks like you just submitted screenshots of Sleeper. Here's what I'm going to do, my guy. I'm going to send you a free roster review voucher so you can resubmit this. You can link your Sleeper league super easily. All you got to do is copy and paste your league ID. You can find it in the URL of your desktop. Or you could go ahead and you could find it in the settings of the app. So just link your league, resubmit it, and that way I can see your waiver wire options and I can actually make some waiver plays for you as well. And then actually come up with some realistic trades. It's going to be tough without seeing that. So I'm going to send you over that free team review voucher so you can resubmit. If you're on NFL Fantasy, I'd be happy to see screenshots, but Sleeper, it's so easy to link that there's no reason not to do it. Okay. Now, Ayoshka here, 1-2. Should I hold or start making moves to turn this around? Thanks. Thank you. We are just give me my money. Where are we in the, we're 5th in the league analyzer with value. We're 9th in the league in total points scored. We're 1 and 2. It's a league in which wide receiver depth's not going to matter much. And real quick, let me give some free questions out in the chat. We just hit 1,000 likes on the stream. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. And of course, we're giving out free questions every single day on this live stream. All you got to do to get them will be drop a like on the stream, be subscribed to the channel, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. And we'll go ahead and we will pick somebody at random and send that free question out to them. So, yeah, drop your username, pick somebody. But here real quick for Aosha, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Give me the elite quarterback if we can. Give me the elite tight end if we can. And generally, we want to be selling wide receiver depth where possible. But let's go ahead and let's send over a free question. This is going to be for Wookie Sack. See if I can find it. I cannot find it, my guy. I don't know if you use code FLOCK when you set up your account. If you haven't used a code, you can add it to your account page. But I can only find you on my user's page if you use code FLOCK. Same thing for Chaps Vibe. Now, Cat's Eye. Just found you and just sent you over that free start sit question. Really appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. And yeah, y'all can tell the majority of the questions that we answer in these streams are just the free questions for people hanging out with us. So if you haven't, just make sure you go down there and subscribe to the channel. Now, 1 and 2, should I hold or start making moves to turn this around? Things. Thank you. So love that we have Allen in this format. We have Gibbs, Brees at running back. Really comfortable. Depth on the bench, we have JCM, Caleb, Tank Bigsby. I wouldn't fault you whatsoever if you wanted to go through and cut Tank Bigsby and pick up Tyrone Tracy. Obviously, you could wait a few weeks until Tyrone Tracy is a little bit closer to returning before you were to make a move like that, though. Going over and looking at what we have at receiver, we currently are sitting with Tet, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So realistically, the depth beyond this doesn't matter much. And then we have Sam Laporte. I love your team. And a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. This is a great spot to be in. Trying to think of like realistically what we could do from here. I like the idea of picking up Tracy. Like the idea of picking up Giddens. I would drop Britton Strange for Harold Fannin. It's a 2 receiver, 1 flex. I don't know if you're ever going to be starting Demario Douglas. So if you wanted to go ahead and if you wanted to drop Demario Douglas and pick up one of these running backs, you can go for it. But I hate to say it, my guy, this is a good team. I think you just leave this as is. I think Brian Thomas will be better in the future than what he has been. Obviously, the rookies are going to continue to get better as well. So I don't think there's a single trade that I would make with this. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way here. And yeah, I'm sorry you don't really have much, but you have a great team for your format. Now let's move over to our next question. It's going to be from Jason. It says, lost Connor and no one else to stream at running back. Pacheco's crap. What are some trade/waiver wire pivots? Hoping Spears and Mixon come back. All right, here's the thing. Spears and Mixon come back. They're maybe nothing as well. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're excited to have them, but it's not like they're a guarantee. So we are 6th in the league with value. It's a league in which you can start up to 8 players. So the skill positional depth matters a bunch. Here's the thing you're going to have to do, which I absolutely hate telling you. We're 2-1. So we have a good record so far. So it's not like the end of the world. If this was a 2 receiver, 1 flex league, I'd say, man, you just got to keep on streaming running back until hopefully we hit on someone. But What I would probably look to do is I think you actually have to sell Josh Allen. I hate it, but you got to do it. If you could sell Josh Allen and get back like I don't know. Get back Achane. Get back Bucky Irving. Sell Allen for Achane. Sell Allen for Bucky. Then all of a sudden, your running back room has Bijan, Achane. Wide receiver, you have Rome, Ladd, Metcalf. In a flex, you're throwing in like Christian Kirk. And the thing is, you can pick up Kyler for free off waivers. So I think the thing is you have to sell Josh Allen. You just don't have the depth at the skill positions. And depth is going to matter, and the injuries just killed us. And then you can realistically pick up Kyler and Dart for free and play the matchups between them going into the future. The other alternative would be selling selling Tyler Warren. You can't sell Njoku for anything. Nobody would buy him. But sell Tyler Warren for a running back. Like if you could sell Tyler Warren for Hampton, sell Tyler Warren for Kyron, sell Tyler Warren for Brees, maybe you could look to do that. And honestly, I wouldn't mind you making both trades if a couple weeks from now, like Joe Mixon doesn't come back and we haven't hit on another running back off waivers. So, yeah, I'm sorry to say it, but this is one of those teams where you may have to sell Josh Allen. But let's move this over to Ale Money. Says, I'm 2-1, but very concerned. This is an auction keeper league, so some teams end up being stacked for years. I can only realistically trade with about half the league, so what do we do? Holding up for better wide receivers, try to make a move, and if so, what should we be looking for in return? Really appreciate you, my friend. Let me send you over some free questions. I know you've been with us for a while. So, auction keeper league, it looks like you only keep 3 players. So, I would mainly treat it as if it's a redraft format, to be honest. You'll always have 3 players that you want to keep. Okay. This is a team that currently is 10th in value, according to the analyzer. And we are second to last in points scored. So we are very lucky to be 2-1. Now, looking at the starters, we can get 4 receivers into our lineup weekly. Quarterback, we have Goff and Fields to play the matchups with. Completely fine in a league where you start 8 guys, so the depth matters a little bit more here. It's not as important to have the elite QB. Looking at what we have at running back, we have Bucky and then no RB2. Wide receiver, we have Wilson, Brian Thomas, Ladd, J-Mo. We need to start all these guys. And then we have Kraft and Kelsey at tight end. Yeah, you need a better running back too. I would cut Troy Franklin. I would pick up Joe Mixon. Here's the thing I would actually do. I would cut Troy Franklin, move Spears from the IR to your bench, then cut Spears, pick up Joe Mixon, put Joe Mixon on your IR, and then you'll still have an open raw spot from cutting Troy Franklin, and you pick up Rachaad White. And you give yourself as many shots as possible for the running backs. And then you give yourself a shot, whether it's Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Joe Mixon, Rachaad White, Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe one of these guys turns into somebody that we can eventually use. Trying to think if there's anything else that we could say about this. I don't think so. I mean, I would say like, oh, sell a wide receiver for a running back. We need a wide receiver desperately, but the situation that you're in is like you sell a wide receiver and we lose that in the flex. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, okay, well, instead of us having I don't know, instead of us having like a hole at running back 2, we sell Lad McConkey to get a better RB2, then we just have a hole at the flex spot instead. So I think you just got to make your moves with, and it's not like we have a ton of value at tight end or quarterback to go and trade for a better skill positional depth piece. So I think you just got to make your moves with the waiver wire. I would cut Spears, Franklin, pick up Mixon and White. But let me send you over, we already sent you over those 3 questions, just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with. I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you. But let's move over to this next one. It's going to be from P-Dogs. To say, Mason, appreciate what you do. With Lamb out up to 4 weeks and Lad's targets being eaten up this year, should we target or trade for a more viable wide receiver 1? Thanks. Thank you, my guy. So we are currently 4th in the league analyzer with value. We are 4th in the league analyzer with points scored. However, we are 1 and 2. So being 1 and 2, you may end up needing to go through and you may end up needing to sell CeeDee Lamb. Right now, quarterback, we have Bo Nix, Daniel Jones to play the matchups with going into the future. We have Tyler Warren at tight end, obviously perfectly fine there. We have Kyle Pitts as our tight end 2. So quarterback, tight end, completely fine. Our starting lineup at running back, we have Taylor, Hubbard, wide receiver, Adams, Ladd, flex, Judkins. And then your other flex is Travis Hunter. So realistically, yeah, I think you're 1 and 2. If you're flexing Travis Hunter at the moment, you need to go ahead and you actually need to sell CeeDee Lamb. Looking at the options on waivers, I would cut Christian Kirk for Darnell Mooney. Obviously, I'd rather cut Jalen McMillan for him, but I'm assuming Jalen McMillan's on the IR. So I think you try to trade like Lamb and just get a viable wide receiver back from the teams at the top. So let me pull up my rankings for you real quick to just show you the wide receivers that we currently have ahead of CeeDee Lamb. So I have CeeDee Lamb right now ranked at wide receiver 9. If you could sell Lamb for Nico, JSN, Jefferson, Chase, Neighbors, St. Brown, I'd be a no-brainer. You don't really have the expendable piece that we can package with Lamb to guarantee that we can get to one of those names. So you may actually have to look for a lesser receiver. And if you're looking at a lesser wide receiver, I think that you would be in the range of London, A.J. Brown, Rome Odunze. You're not desperate enough where I would go ahead and I would trade Lamb for a wide receiver in tier C, because you do have a decent amount of points scored so far this year. So we have the tiebreaker. I would cut Kirk for Darnell Mooney because there's a world in which you're flexing Darnell Mooney over Travis Hunter. And then I would cut Jalen McMillan if he's actually on your roster in favor of Ray Davis, but I would be surprised if he's not just on your IR. But I wish I had more for you. I really appreciate you. And really hope that I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. But let's move this back over to some of the quicker questions, the start sit, the trades. Like I said, if you got in a start sit or a trade question, we will answer that before today's game for sure. Now, LPR trading Jordan Mason and Tyler Warren for Hendo and Nico Collins. Mason to Hendo, give me him in the long term. I'd get the upgrade of Nico. So yeah, I think you go Nico here. Maybe you lose that trade in the short term, but I think you win it in the long term. I'd be surprised if week 12, Henderson's not ahead of Jordan Mason in my rankings. Okay. Now, probable lamp here, quarterback. Give me Allen over Caleb. Running back, give me Bucky and Pollard. Wide receiver, give me Sutton and Chase. And then in the flex, I think you're going to go back to running back and you're going to play David Montgomery. Now, Ball Dolphin says, I traded Chase for Mason and Pearsall. Not a fan, my friend. Now we have Bijan Robinson, Chase Brown. I mean, we had Jordan Mason. Yeah, we had Jamar Chase. So actually put Jordan Mason in here over Chase Brown. Play Igbuka and Tet, and then I'm going to throw Wilson in the flex and a full PPR. But yeah, I think you should have kept Jamar Chase on your team. Pedinero is trading Trevion and Johnston for Kenneth Walker. Okay. I would rather have Walker, probably, unless you really need help at receiver. No, we have plenty of production at wide receiver. I really hope I'm wrong, but I think, sadly, the big Q is going to be coming back down to earth. Our brand's relying on him. Well, not really, but it would be nice. It'd be good content-wise if Quentin Johnson stays the wide receiver 1 through the rest of the year. But I would be very, very shocked. Now, Hot Daddy coming through. A quarterback, give me Daniel Jones. Running back, Jordan Mason, Chase Brown. Wide receiver, give me Brian Thomas over Marv. Tight end, give me Kincaid over Jawan for the touchdown. And then we'll go with Marv and JMO at wide receiver. But obviously, know that we have a very low floor with both receivers. Really low floor with both wide receivers, and you're just shooting for the upside. Now, Hot Daddy coming through. Quarterback between Kyler and Purdy. I'm just going to go Kyler. Play it safe. Running back, Mason and Achane. Wide receiver, give me Pearsall over Higgins and Marv. Tight ends, give me Hawk over Goddard. I'm making that decision for my own team this week. And then I have to play Higgins, but you definitely don't. Put Judkins in instead. Okay. Now, it's Archie. Says, debating this because I'm playing the person I'm making the trade with and lost Lamb and Evans. So, here's the thing. I think Pollard's a better short-term option than Pittman, but I would rather have Pittman long-term. Actually, I'm just going to go Pollard if you're a contending team. Like, if you lost Lamb and Evans, I understand it, but I would hope that we could get to a slightly better wide receiver. I do think that Pittman's touchdown rate, the expectation should be it comes down. And Pollard's been averaging like 20 opportunities a game. Now, Tommy Mitchell here at running back. Give me Genty. And then in the flex, give me Walker. Benson very well may be playing over these running backs next week, but I think we can see Benson for a week before we got to make that call. Now, Spiffy here for the bench. Our best names, probably Travis Etienne. And I'm not putting in Etienne over any of these guys, so I think you leave this as is. Now, M. Gardara trading Kamara for Sutton. I would rather have Kamara, unless you're desperate at wide receiver. But, I mean, even if you're desperate at wide receiver, I'd assume that we can find a team that lost James Conner that's willing to pay us more than this. Now, Loki coming through. For the flex, I would play A.J. Brown over Keenan Allen. And, yeah, there's nothing really else that I would flip there. But I know Keenan's been crushing, but, again, I think this is another one of these players that It may end up seeing his touchdown rate fall. Now, begs with our next one. Here, quarterback, Caleb Fields. Give me Caleb, wide receiver. Give me Tet over Tyreek. Flex, give me Tyreek. And then tight ends, we're going to go Harold Fannin. But it did sound like Evan Ingram did practice in full today. Okay. Now, P. Viegel trading Dak, Igbuka, Johnson for Josh Allen. Oh, yeah, I'll do this for Josh. It's a 14-team league. What do you have left over receiver? You'd be playing Igbuka, Rome. How the hell do you have this team? This is a loaded team. You have to go with Igbuka and Johnson here. The issue is, like, you have Lamb and Rice, and it's a 14-team format, so waiver wire options will be worse. So the wide receiver depth's too hard to come by. Most teams, most leagues, I'd rather have Josh Allen, but you have a great team, but you need to wait for those wide receivers to come back before you can sell your depth wide receivers. Anthony coming through. Here for the flex. Like, this is labeled as it maybe a tight end premium format, so like I would want Bowers in here. Honestly, even if it wasn't a tight end premium format, I'm starting Bowers over Addison and Pittman. Bowers looks like he's going to be in a great spot with no Michael Mayer this week. And Bowers looks like he's healthy now. Okay. Now, Salvador. Quarterback, give me Herbert over Daniel Jones. Tight end, give me Bowers. Flex, give me London and Benson. But put Benson at running back and move a running back down to the flex since Benson plays tonight. 80 fantasy here at tight ends. Give me Tyler Warren over Jawan. For the flex, we will take the running backs with the volume. Give me the combo. Actually, I'm going to go with Dobbins over Judkins with how good the matchup is against the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, here, Austin Porter. I think Pearsall and Pollard will be the plays. I am worried about the Titans offense. Again, right now, you do have the Titans projected out to be the lowest scoring offense on the week this week. I think the implied team total is 15.5 points, but you don't have Spears back yet, and you are getting just 20 opportunities a game from Pollard. Okay. So give me Pearsall and Pollard. Now, Philip Pasarimi, running back. I'm going to go Javonte over Benson. We know what the work looks like. And then, yeah, I know it's a tough matchup, but Javonte's also had usage as a receiver. And it's a tough matchup for Benson as well. Okay. Now, Reed M. Here, running back. I'm going to go Chuba. And then we probably go with, I'd play Benson over ETN, to be honest. Like, with ETN, I mean, I am starting him on my own team. I may not even start him on my own team. Like, you're getting squeezed for touches from Byshell Tootin in the red zone. ETN's not the third down back. It has been really frustrating. And these other running backs, like you do have, we know what the workload, they're at least getting involved as a receiver the way that ETN isn't. Okay. Now, Philip says, going to trade next week. Who do we go for the flex? Okay. I think you have to go with Igbuka. No Evans, banged up Godwin. I don't know how you could possibly bench him. Yeah. So give me Igbuka here, to be honest. I don't think it's that tough either. Now, Azias coming through. We have Hindo, Kamara versus Hurts and Chase Brown. Chase Brown over Hindo, Hurts, Kamara, up to you. Leftover at running back, we'd have CMC, Chase Brown, Judkins. We'd have an upgraded quarterback. I'm okay with us doing this. I mean, I would rather get to a truly elite quarterback like the Josh Allen, the Lamar Jackson range. But if this is the best you can do, this is the best you can do. Okay. But Ash Covey with our next question. Here at wide receiver, give me Tyreek and Kamara over Pollard. Both running backs are in garbage offenses. I'm more confident with the Kamara receiving role, though. And Kamara's the better player. KB123, running back, give me... You got good running backs. HN and Kyron. Wide receiver, it's a great team. London and Jacoby. Tight end Bowers. And then we're going to want to go back to running back in the flex. It's either going to be Javonte or Dobbins. Dobbins, better offense, better matchup this week. Javonte, larger role as a receiver. You probably got to play Dobbins. He's not getting involved as a receiver, but you're going up against the Bengals, and you are massive, massive favorites. Now, La Gente trading Smith for Rice. Oh, 100%. I would do this deal unless I was 0-3. You could be 1-2, and I may do that. Payday Fool trading Pollard, Flowers, McBride for Jefferson, a future second in a super flex league. Yeah, I would go ahead. I would take Jefferson in the second. Pollard's going to be nothing this offseason. You make that deal, it doesn't kill you this year, and at the same time, you are in a much, much better spot long term. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. Let's send out a free question to somebody in the chat. We just hit 1,100 likes. So if you haven't already, make sure you go down, drop a like on this live stream. Every time we hit 100 likes, we send out free questions. You can see the vast majority of the questions that we answer in these live streams every single day are completely free. All you got to do is be subscribed to the channel, drop a like, drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win that question, I know who to send it to. And make sure you use code FLOCK when you sign up to flockfantasy.com. That way I can find you on my users page if you win. Okay. And let me... Oh, and Devontae Adams does not practice today with the hamstring. I mean, he is 48 years old. So, I mean, you do get some of these just random rest days for the 48-year-olds. Let's move this over and we'll send out a free question to Squiddy. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream, my friend. Just sent you over that free start set. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I'm going to go fill up my water. I'll be live streaming answering these free questions until kickoff, but I am out of water. So if I'm going to be live for another hour and a half, I got to fill up. We are so close to hitting 300,000 subscribers. If we can somehow get an extra 200 tonight, then we are 10,000 away, which is possible. It's only September. Let me see how many subscribers did we get last October? Hitting 300K would be insane. And let's see. Zachary, sorry it's taken us this long to get to this for you. But here, quarterback, I would play Kyler. I wouldn't roll the dice on Purdy. There's no need to. Looking at wide receiver, give me Ricky Pearsall. And then for the flex, I'm probably going to go Matthew Golden and send up a prayer that he's a big play against a very bad Dallas Cowboys defense. Don't feel super confident with it, but maybe, just maybe. Okay, so let me see from September 26th last year. Oh, crap. It's going to be close, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be close. From September 26th last year to December 31st, we gained 12,000 subs. And we need to get 11,000. It's harder to get them now than it used to be. So we're going to be cutting it close. I'll be trying my best, live streaming as much as I possibly can. Answered as many free questions as I possibly can. But if you watch these often and somehow you're not subscribed, please make sure you fix that. Okay, let's move this over to our next one. This will be Cooper Martin. Trading Herbert, Swift, Kraft for Bowers. We have Daniels, so we don't need Herbert. We have CMC, Benson, Hendo. I think you can do it because it's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, so the depth doesn't matter at all. But it's not easy. Okay. Now going over to say it again. Here, quarterback. I'm going to go Bo Nix over Kyler given the matchup. We're going to go Ibuka at wide receiver. Actually, crap. We actually have to think about this. Give me Laporta here at tight ends. Jordan Mason's the play in the flex no matter what. So Ibuka versus London's close. Let me see if there's an underdog pick 'em out with these guys. Obviously, long track record with London. Tough matchup for Ibuka. But you have no Evans. It sounds like if Godwin does play, it's going to be limited. Underdog is Ibuka, higher lower is 62.5 yards. They have Drake London, higher lower is 65.5. Where did I put them in my rankings this week? I put London at 8, Ibuka at 12. So yeah, I think we go with London here. Don't feel great about it. Now, Skull Razor. Chubb, Shakir versus Godwin. Chubb and Shakir may not even be worth roster spots a week from now. So, yeah, I think you just go and get Godwin. Go get the player that's ascending. Abyss trading Adams for Hubbard. I'd rather have Adams. Looking at running back, we have Swift, Scat. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Puka, Neighbors. So one of these players would be in our flex. I mean, maybe if you're worried about the hamstring with Adams, you can go Chuba, but like I think it's like personal preference thing, and my personal preference would be Adams. But if you're worried about the hamstring injury, then sure. Okay. But Chuba also popped up with a calf injury in practice as well. Now, Drew Basic. Amari and Hampton versus Swift and Rashee Rice. Yeah, Chief, I'm just going to take Amari and Hampton here. Like maybe if you're 3-0 and we're only thinking long term, you can go for it. But Amari Hampton looks like he can be a top 5 running back rest of season. Now, Planet Res is trading Worthy and Smith for Benson. Wide receiver, we have Brian Thomas, Igbuka, Tet, Johnston, Lamb. We have plenty of running back depth as well. I mean, here the thing is the depth doesn't matter at all in your league. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So if you believe Benson could be an elite player, go for it. Now, Mr. Vonzies says, I'm 1-2. Should we make this trade or tough it out? Depth does matter in your league. These guys hit your lineup. So yes, if you're 1-2, I don't think you tough it out. I just think you get the points now. Obviously, when we're in week 10, it's going to look horrible. A CeeDee Lamb's going to be running laps around these guys. But it wouldn't matter if you're in week 10 and you're 3-7, you know. So I think you just get points in the lineup to stay in the fight. Now, MTRX Hitman. Wide receiver, you play Keenan, Ferg at tight ends, and then, you're going to have to play Kraft in a flex spot. And then Terry, I don't know. Terry's playing A, Godwin's playing B, A.O. Manor's playing C, Tillman's playing D. Yeah, I have no idea who's going to play there. Now, I am Brock Bowers looking at a future first Kamara Swift Igbuka versus Jahmyr Gibbs in a dynasty league. It's a shallow dynasty league. I would say most dynasty leagues give me Igbuka in the first. But with how shallow this one is, I'm okay with you making this move. Now, 100, trading Jordan Mason for Jacoby. If you need a wide receiver, I'm fine with it. Yeah, we lost Lamb. I think you probably lose this deal in the short term, but long term, when Aaron Jones comes back in and this kind of turns into a little bit more of a committee, yeah, go ahead and get Jacoby. Now, pre-civil, Jacoby auto start. Ladd will be the other flex. I'm not playing Pittman over Ladd yet. Maybe give me another week of Ladd being horrible, but I can't do it yet. Okay. Close Wasabi trading Scat for Tracy and Pickens. I would rather have Pickens over Scat. I literally offered Sal today. I said, hey, I'll give you any running back on my team not named I don't know. I'll give you any running back on my team, not Barkley or Jacobs, which includes Scat for Pickens. And he said no. So yeah, I think you take the Pickens side here. I know we need to log out, log back in. So give me a second for that. We'll keep ripping the free questions. And again, as I log out and log back in, I will remind you that if you haven't already, please go down there, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. We are grinding away, answering as many free questions as possible every single day on these live streams to try to hit 300,000 subscribers. Looks like we have a chance. We're going to cut it close this season, but we got to get there. We got to. Okay. Now let's move this back. Yeah, close Wasabi. Give me Pickens. Now, Jay Soyce, what can we do to upgrade running back in the long term? Go Kyler over Fields. Flex, Tet, Adams. I mean, hell, if you want to sell Metcalf and Pollard, try to get a better running back. You don't need them. Now, Parsival, trade in Ladd and JCM for Dobbins and Rice. Yeah, Chief, this is where we want to make this deal. Go get Rice and Dobbins for sure. I need to move JCM down my rankings with the injury. Dorian, if I can catch up on all the free questions, then maybe we can turn back on the paid questions. But right now, let me see how many free questions we still have to answer real quick. But yeah. Because we got an hour until kickoff. And I have about 40 free questions that we have to answer. So I can probably turn them back on. But it's going to depend on how many more come in over the next hour. We're going to go Daniel Jones here at quarterback. Wide receiver going to be Pickens. And then for the flex, I will take Trey Benson. But put Benson in at running back and move a running back down to the flex since he plays tonight. Joe, you can't buy a start-sit question because we are too backed up on them. So we have them turned off. We've had the ability to buy questions, buy start-sit questions and trade questions turned off all week. Just simply, we are too far backed up. We're answering a ton of free ones. I've been live streaming for 4 or 5 hours every single day trying to get through these, but I'm sorry, my friend, we're doing the best we can. Now, Nick the Brick trading Chuba, Mason, Kincaid for Bucky. Yeah, I'm fine getting Bucky here. It'd be you have Tyler Warren. Hell yeah, then Kincaid doesn't matter. Go get Bucky Irving. 100 says I already traded Kamara for Tet. If you already traded Kamara for Tet, then you still have enough running back depth, but you have Tet, Debo. You can make this move if you want to for the long term, but Jordan Mason would be a play over Jacoby Myers here in the short term. Now, Brandon says, any advice on setting the lineup this week? Congrats on the 3-0 start. Appreciate you, my friend. Here, quarterback, obviously, we're just going to go with whichever Washington guy is starting in the super flex. Egbuka and probably Marv will be our wide receiver plays. I don't feel great about Marv, though. Tight end, give me Jawan Johnson over Hawk. And then running back, you take the running backs with the guaranteed volume. Jordan Mason, Trey Benson. I don't love the matchup for for Jalen Warren this week, so I'll be benching Jalen Warren. Wilson says, got her for Pollard and Goff. Daniel's price was too much. Not bad at all. Right now, we have on the bench Marv. I'm completely fine leaving this starting lineup as is over Marv. Obviously, Marv has a crazy high ceiling, but the question is what the floor looks like. And yeah, completely fine price point to get Herbert. Now, Clutty here at running back. I probably tell you to go Chase Brown, and I close my eyes. He's been averaging 20 opportunities a game. And then for the flex, actually, you got to go Pollard and Swift. You just got to take all the running backs starting to get the volume. If you wanted to mix Keenan in, you can. But in general, my rule of thumb is for the flex spots, if you know a running back projects to see more than 15 touches, it's such a high floor play. Unless they're complete and utter dust like Nick Chubb. Now, Johnny Hobb coming through with our next one. For the flex, give me Matthew Golden. Obviously, Golden hasn't been great, but you have a great matchup against Dallas, and you can hope for the big plays. Okay. Now, Pedro says, Broncos or Chargers DST looking to improve? Broncos or Chargers DST? I'd go Broncos. And give me DJ Moore over Higgins, and then tight ends. I'll go Chig here. Chig had a fine week this past week. Pittsburgh's just spreading the ball out too much. But that is not an easy call by any stretch of the imagination. Now, SS Jeeves says, how am I 0-3? Traded Ladd for Genty. Love you, bro. Love you, my guy. Love the Genty trade. Quarterback, I may go Kyler if it's a 4-point passing touchdown league. And then I'd go Ricky Pearsall in that other flex. And yeah, you may have to sell the rookie running backs if we fall to 0-4. Just literally get anything you can to get production in your lineup. The Stone guy here, quarterback, obviously Allen over Dart, and wide receiver, DJ Moore over Golden. Squishy, quarterback for the Superflex, I'm going to go with probably Daniel Jones. Running back, Brees over Hubbard now that we have Hubbard banged up with the calf. Wide receiver, give me Rome. Flex London, tight end Hunter Henry. I hope Henry bombs this week because I do have to play against him. Okay. Next question's coming out from Dorian. This is Daniel Jones, ETN, Debo versus Baker and Tet. Upgrade at receiver, upgrade at QB. We have plenty of running back. I think you can make this deal. I don't think like it's a no-brainer by any means. But just because what you're sitting with at running back is so strong, you can afford it. Now, Fahid trading Henry and Pittman for Swift. I would rather have Derrick Henry by a mile. Great Big C. Give me Chase Brown over Benson. And let me see if there's an actual Chase Brown projection on Underdog now, because I feel so bad saying this every time we do. Chase Brown's higher lower is 75.5 total yards. Benson's higher lower 83.5. So I guess the projections with Benson are a lot better. Better offense. He has the receiving role. Chase Brown's looked like the worst running back in the NFL. I would honestly play Chase Brown over Quentin Johnson, though. I play both running backs in that are going to get the volume. So, yeah, I think you play both guys. But I'm going to start telling people to play Trey Benson over Chase Brown. I think we were wrong with that. Okay, so next one's going to be from Anderson trading Chase Brown for Devonta Smith. I would still rather have Chase Brown. Soliby trading Bucky for Benson and Tet in a Dynasty League. Oh, yeah, give me Tet. Tet in Dynasty. I mean, even if it was a redraft format, that's a fine price. But if it's a Dynasty League, Tet long-term is going to be amazing. Phillip here, tight end, give me Hunter Henry over David Njoku. And then for the flex, I would go Tony Pollard over Marv. Like Marv for sure has a higher ceiling. Don't get me wrong. But Pollard, you're going to get 20 opportunities guaranteed. Pollard, the floor is 3 points. Sorry, Harrison, the floor is 3 points. It's like Pollard gives you the higher floor. Marv gives you the higher ceiling. Okay. Next question is Jimbotron and did not put anything in here. So I'm going to send you over a free start set so you can resubmit that. Ray Charles says, who are the flexes? Talk me out of Torrey Horton tonight for the love of God. If you play Torrey Horton over Chase Brown, you deserve to lose. You play Chase Brown. The other guy, if you want to play Torrey Horton, I'm not going to follow you. For me, I would play Josh Downs, where the Colts do project to have to actually throw the ball a considerable amount here. But at least, at the very minimum, make sure you play Chase Brown and just get the guaranteed opportunities. Okay. Let's move this over. Now, Chef Rye trading Woody Marks, CeeDee Lamb, Tet, and Bowers for Chase Brown and Puka. Here's the thing, my guy. Be completely honest with you. Woody Marks, Mark Andrews are just clogging up this deal. Get them out. It doesn't matter. They would have no impact whatsoever on if you make this or not. Bowers and Lamb versus Puka Nacua. Deeper league. I'd probably take Puka. As crazy as it sounds. And then Tet versus Chase Brown. Give me Tet. Right now at running back, we have Jacobs and Scat, so we're okay at running back. Wide receiver, we have Tet and like Ridley. It's like you can make this because your wide receiver room is really bad. But I would really rather keep, like, if you could trade Ridley instead of Tet, I would like it a hell of a lot more. Okay. Next question's redemption. This is Chase Brown, Garrett Wilson versus Kamara and Tet. Upgrading at wide receiver and upgrading at running back. I would do this deal. Decido coming through. Quarterback, give me Goff over Dak. Running back, the combo of Brees and Chase Brown. Wide receiver, Chase, London. And then in the flex spots, give me Tony Pollard and Michael. Actually, no, I'm going to go Devontae Adams. And I'd go Pollard over Pittman and Waddle. Okay. Let's move this over. This is cat's eye. So it looks like we're catching up with these questions, for sure. Quarterback, we have Mahomes or Caleb. I'd probably go Mahomes. He's going to have to run the ball against Baltimore. Give me Hampton over Brees and ETN. Wide receiver here between Olave, Pittman, and Smith is tough. Olave has the target volume, but his offense is garbage, so you have no touchdown upside. But this is a full PPR format, so you can go Olave. And then for the flex, I'm going to take Brees Hall. Kayvon trading Gibbs for Kamara and Jefferson. It's a deeper league. Right now at receiver, we have DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson. Running back, we have enough running back production to put in the flex. So to be honest with you, Chief, I'm going to keep Jahmyr Gibbs here. A deep league, so I completely understand if you wanted to make this trade. I'm not going to fault you for it. But for me, I think I'd rather have Gibbs. Okay, now Nooch the barkeep. Trading Judkins and Igbuka for Josh Allen and Diggs. 14-team format. Leftover at running back, we'd have Achane, Hendo, and that's it. God, quarterback's disgusting. You're having to play Browning. If you're having to play Browning, by all means, go for it. We lost Burrow and we lost McCarthy. So we are certifiably cooked. So yeah, feel free to go ahead and take Josh Allen. Cat's Eye, do you want to play Bowers over Tyler Warren? Jinx Dodd says, sup Mason, stumped with all my spots this week. Also, who should we target at wide receiver for Brian Thomas Jr. and a running back? Here's my thing, my guy. How the hell are you going to sell Brian Thomas Jr. for anything? I don't know who's buying Brian Thomas Jr. Quarterback Daniels if he plays. Running back Hampton, auto lock. You have plenty of running back production. You have Javonte and Benson. I'm going to go Javonte this week, even in a tough matchup. We know he's going to get involved as a receiver. We've seen the workload where Benson, it's more so a projection. I think I probably don't make a 2-for-1 deal until you get CeeDee Lamb back. I mean, once you get Lamb back, then yeah, by all means, let's go through and let's try to send a Trey Benson and Brian Thomas and get the best wide receiver possible. But from what I'm seeing, if you try to sell Brian Thomas, you're just simply not going to get anything for him. At least from what I've seen as of late. Paul here is asking, sell Brian Thomas Jr. for Keenan Allen. I wouldn't do that. Brian Thomas Jr. was a wide receiver 1 at 21 years old. He's 22 years old and he's still getting volume. Don't get me wrong, he's been horrendous. But to sell him at this kind of a low point, I don't know how his value goes lower from here. Could be wrong. Very, very easily could be wrong. Okay. Now, let's move this over to our next question. This is Clayton Cox selling Purdy, Pearsall, Shaheed for Mahomes and JMO. Upgraded quarterback. Downgraded receiver. Do we need to start Pearsall? No. You have a running back in your flex. So yeah, I'm fine if you wanted to make this move. Now, next question is, it's Mobro. Here for the flex spots, like the best guy to get in would probably be Darnell Mooney. No way in hell I'm playing Mooney over anybody that we have in the lineup as is, so I think you leave this. Flockadoodle-doo says, I also have a trade opportunity. JSN and Mar for Kittle, Kenneth Walker, and A.J. Brown. What are your thoughts? JSN and Mar for Kittle, Walker, and A.J. Brown. JSN, A.J. Brown downgrade. Marv to Kenneth Walker, massive upgrade to get Kittle for free. That's a 10-team. If it's a double flex format. Like right now we're starting Marvin, Metcalf. We have Ferg at tight ends. Here's the thing, man. You got Ferg. You don't need Kittle. I wouldn't do the deal. I'd keep the best player with JSN. Like Ferg's the tight end one in fantasy right now. And it only looks like it's getting better now that you have no CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, I'd be hesitant to tell anybody to go through and sell Jake Ferg. I'm sorry, to go buy tight end if you have Ferg. But it looks like we just hit 1,200 likes on the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions in the chat. Again, all you got to do to get free questions, which we're answering every single day on this stream, the vast majority of the questions that we do answer here are free, is drop a like on the live stream, be subscribed to the channel, and drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. Completely free to have an account on flockfantasy.com. Just make sure you sign up with code FLOCK. That way, if you win the question, I can go ahead and I can find you on my users page. Now, Sandra Wall, Jefferson for Barkley upgrade, Pollard for Warren upgrade, and you got to pay Jalen Warren for doing it. Yeah, 100% go get Saquon Barkley and Tyler Warren here. Profit's profit. Here, running back, give me Benson. Wide receiver, let's go Debo, Tyreek. Tight end, Tyler Warren, and then in the flex, we'll take Kamara. But let's send this over to Low Carb. Let me see if I can find you on the site, my guy, and if so, we'll get that free question sent your way. And I'll also let y'all know how many questions we are backed up on. Okay, we are backed up on 18 questions. So if you submit a question, it should realistically probably be answered in about 15 minutes. Again, you cannot buy a question. You can only submit it if you have one of those vouchers, which Low Carb just found you, and so you should have one of those vouchers to send one in. But if you had a voucher that you were saving that you won on the stream or you got by becoming an annual Mother Flocker with code FLOCK, if you go ahead and send in a start sit question or a trade question, it will be answered in about 15 minutes. Our next one's going to be Kawhi on Adidas, something like that. Here for running back, we're going to go Chuba, assuming health. And then we also probably play Scat. Can y'all please spam the chat? Who would y'all rather play this week? Because I have to make this same exact thing in my lineup, and this is what I'm hung up on. Would you play Scat, ETN, or Pollard? I'm sorry, that's my question. Who are you going to bench out of that? But here in this question, are you going to go Scat or ETN? Scat or ETN? ETN plays the Niners, Scat plays the Chargers. The Jags project to score about 3 points more than the Giants do. Okay, let's see. Scat, 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 ETN, Scat, Scat, ETN, Scat, 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 ETN, Scat, ETN. So it looks like most people are telling you Scat. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Ugh, it is. It's not fun, though. Now, do hefty lefty. Tight ends, give me Pitts over Andrews, and then we'll go with Benson over Scat in the flex. But move him to running back, move a running back down to the flex spot since Benson plays tonight. Logan at quarterback. We're going to go Love over Baker. Much better matchup. Hampton and Walker at running back. Tight end, Tyler Warren. And in the flex, London. Bryce is trading Tyreek for Brees. You're crap at running back because Isaiah Pacheco's the worst player in the NFL. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Brees Hall here. And obviously, that's a joke. Don't think that I actually think Isaiah Pacheco's the worst player in the NFL. Let's see. It's Jared Goff, Walker, Igbuka, Kittle versus Hampton, Sutton, and Ferg. Igbuka to Sutton, short-term loss, long-term upgrade. Kittle to Ferg, short-term win, long-term downgrade. Walker to Hampton, clearly give me Hampton. Goff doesn't really matter in a 10-team league. So, yeah, we're going to do this. I'd rather sell Dak than Goff, though, with the Lamb injury. So, if you could send them Dak instead, I would definitely swap the two, if possible. Now, let's move this over. Our next one is from Gage Shelton. Here at running back, I'm going to go Scat over Warren and Judkins. And then in the flex, Pearsall, if you have no Jennings, if Jennings plays, give me Judkins. Now, Chef says, I'm 0-3 and he's 3-0. So, yeah, you need to send him Lamb. What would make this even? We're both watching. Ooh, interesting here. All right. I would say in general, if you are 0-3 and he's 3-0, it makes a hell of a lot of sense for you to send him CD Lamb. Now, with that being said, Puka Nacua is one of the quote-unquote untouchable assets. Woody Marks is a complete zero in this deal. Like, literally doesn't matter at all. Don't think about him when you're constructing this. We're trading Lamb. Like, would I rather have Lamb and Bowers or Puka Nacua? It depends on my setup. If I'm 3-0, I could very easily see me wanting Bowers here. Like, Mark Andrews is dust in the long run. Once Isaiah Likely comes in, Andrews is already too inconsistent to be a play. So once Isaiah Likely's in here, completely fine just saying that Andrews is a zero. And I would want Bowers a ton if I was 3-0. Long term, when you're 3-0, Lamb could be as good as Puka Nacua. And Tet's way better than Chase Brown. So I would say that, honestly, the CD Lamb side probably has more value here. But that's because I'm still a massive believer in Bowers. And if we're looking at what we have with I don't know, the Michael May injury, Bowers getting in full practices. I would want something on the other side. Like, if you could get Hampton on this, it would be an absolute no-brainer. Even if it means you got to throw in, like, Trevion. So, obviously, Trevion's going to keep getting better as well. But, yeah, I think the Lamb side has more value. And if I was 3-0, I'd want that for sure. But if you're 0-3, obviously it makes a ton of sense for you to sell CD Lamb. Now, let's move this over. Kyle with our next question. For the flex, we got Jennings, Hendo, Worthy. I'll go with healthy player. We're going to take Hendo. MFL Zero says, sending this for all top tier quarterbacks, is it worth it or not? Hell yes. I'd send it for all of the big four QBs. Because by the time Evans comes back, Godwin should be ramped up close to 100%. Yeah, so if you have Ibuka breaking out, Godwin close to 100%, Evans will probably be a lot closer to mid wide receiver 2 than a true wide receiver 1. Okay. Now, GT says, is Tyreek the wide receiver to offer up in this trade? 8-team league here, man. So, like, any wide receiver not named Jefferson doesn't particularly matter much. Like, 8-team league, the wide receiver depth doesn't matter. Tyreek may not even be hitting your lineup. So, yeah, send Tyreek in the Seattle backs to get James Cook. Easily. Now, F8 Finesser. Quarterback, we're going to go with Kyler and May. Actually, I go May and Caleb. For the flexes, you're cooked. Oh, brother. The Lamb injury kills us. Are you starting Calvin Austin and RJ Harvey? What did Franklin do this past week? Played 80% of the snaps, but he had 2 receptions. Snap rate for Harvey went down, but the matchup is so good going up against Cincinnati. I would probably put Calvin and Harvey in there and just send up a prayer that they're winning so much that they start playing the backup running backs. Okay. Now, Andrew says, hey, Mason, 5-year fan, won this league last year thanks to you. Wanted to up my wide receiver 2. Did I overpay for Pickens? Trade went through already. Thanks and good luck this year. Thank you, my guy. Let me make sure that you have as many questions as you need. So it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So with that in mind, here's my take on it. If Scat was a running back that's on your bench that we didn't really need, then by all means, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get George Pickens. If Scat was going to be an every week play at RB2 or an every week play at the flex spot for you, it's probably a little bit too rich, but it's going to be dependent on really what Scat looked like there. Okay, so let's move this over to San Fran Niners fan. Give me Chase Brown over Judkins this week in a full PPR. And then for the flex, I would play Jacoby Myers over Ladd McConkey. And then keep in mind, if you're going to play Benson, do not put him in your flex spot. And this goes for everybody here. If Benson is in your flex, take him out of your flex, put him at running back 1, and move your running back 1 down to your flex. Okay. Now, Mr. Trog here at running back. I'm going to play Genty in a matchup that should actually be very high scoring against the Bears. And then in the flex, we'll just take the other running back. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Kenneth Walker. But since Walker plays tonight, keep in mind, put him at RB and move Genty to the flex. Jay Ferrer trading Walker for Debo. I understand Jarvis is back. I understand at the same time Terry's injured. But no, I'd rather have Kenneth Walker over Debo still. Okay. Now, Ox Grexco says 0-3, but I like my odds. I traded Brown for JSN. Ooh, that is nice. For the flex, you got to, if you're 0-3, my friend, you got to sell Rice to go get somebody that you're excited to play right now. Plan A is Worthy. Plan B is Godwin. Plan C is Pacheco. But really, plan A should be sell Rice and go get somebody to put in the lineup now. Now, Sookster trading Olave and Pearsall for Hendo. We have Rome, Adams, Wilson, Hunter at receiver. I don't think you need to pay this price tag. I have Pearsall and Henderson ranked back to back. I don't think you need to include Olave. I understand Olave doesn't have much value here given the format, but still. Okay. Now, let's move this over to our next one. Oh, she says, Superflex want to use running backs for Lamar. People are stingy at quarterback. I would sell any running back that you have on your team for Lamar. You could try going like Jordan Mason, Caleb, if you wanted. But I think the trade just straight up is you send Achane, you send Bucky, you send anybody that you can with your running backs to get to Lamar Jackson. Now, Butta, here we're going to play Kamara at running back, wide receiver JMO, and then play both Benson and flex Brees. Now, Creation, here for the flex. I'll go with DK over A.O. Manor. I mean, DK freaking sucks at this point. It's horrible. I have to play him as my wide receiver one, and it's embarrassing. But realistically speaking, like, how are you going to play A.O. Manor? Projects being the worst offense in the league this week, and you're looking at a super small sample for somebody that doesn't have much pedigree. Okay. Now, let's move this over to our next one. Gosh, this dog. Come on. Okay, this is Samuel Trey Benson versus Chase Brown and Hunter Henry. I would still rather have Chase Brown over Trey Benson rest of season. Maybe I'm an idiot. If you think there's a 0% chance that Burrow ever comes back this year, then sure, take Benson. But if we get Burrow back for the last 4 weeks of the season, I think this Bengals offense obviously could turn around in a big time way. Now, Donnie B's body bags. For the flex, both Myers and Benson are incredible plays. I would go Myers. The game's supposed to be super high scoring. You already have exposure to this Cardinals offense with McBride. It's a pretty tough matchup in general. I'm not going to fault you either way that you go about this, though. Now, Jay Tolan, looks like you didn't include your options for me to look at, so let me send you over a free start set voucher so you can resubmit this. Okay, let's refresh this, see if we had any more questions come in. We got Brins is able. Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt versus Hendo. I'm going to go with Hendo. Pretty easy there. But let me see. What the hell is this? Okay, let me check on something. Okay. I'm going to J Money here, wide receiver. I'll play Devonta Smith, and you play Scat in the flex for sure. Like, those wide receivers are all boom bust. Like, if it was best ball, I think you'd be excited about having those guys. But having to predict when they're going to blow up will be extremely difficult. But I got to make the flex rankings for everybody. So we're probably going to need us to end this now because I want to be watching the game. So I want to have those flex rankings done so I can record during half. And then also I got to meet with the other creators to do the preview for the Flock League this week. But appreciate you all hanging out with us, of course. I'm going to keep live streaming every single day until Christmas, answering as many free questions as we possibly can. So if you haven't already, make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way YouTube tells you when we go live. That way you can actually come out and hang out with us in these streams. But I think that's all I got for you. I really appreciate you and really hope I get to see you out with the live stream after the game, where obviously we will be recapping everything.